Okay, great. And so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Mr. Tillman's on his way. Okay, so for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'm going to go ahead and ask one of the students to, Jocelyn? Where's? Oh, they moved your chair. Okay. She's our student board member. If you could do the pledge. Could you lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Go ahead.
Please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may now be seated.
Okay. For the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull item for closed session 10.15. Anybody else? Any other comments? If not, let's go ahead and do we have to readjust them? That's fine? Just 10.15. Okay, so I'm pulling the 10.15 to discuss in closed session.
So you're adding it to our closed session?
Yes, I am adding it to the closed session item. Okay.
You're not pulling it from the agenda.
There's two things we can do. We can pull it, or we can just keep it on the agenda and just have the closed session. Yeah, pulling it to discuss. Okay, so then let's go ahead and call for the vote. All's in favor say aye.
Aye.
All's opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried.
And Madam President, just for
Yes.
clarification, you're pulling it, and the only reason why we're discussing it in closed session is because of the
Attorney.
legal ramifications, right?
Yes,
Okay.
just for legal ramifications. Thank you for clarifying that. And then 1.4, inspirational message, Mr. Tillman.
Yes, let me see, are my Holcomb? Okay, so I'm gonna have my Holcomb students come up, but first I want to just congratulate the superintendent and assistant soups and all the district staff. You know, the county, and I guess it's the county, the school district, and workforce development are working together with this Generation Go. And so my office, Information Services Division for Human Services, we have 5 of those students in our office. So some are doing graphic designs, some are actually doing business systems analysts. They want to be project managers. And all the students so far have been very sharp. But when I met with the first 2 students, I asked them, did they know about the Chromebook program? And one of the sharpest students, he pulled out his Chromebook and his Wi-Fi device. And I mean, he has excelled in technology. And it's because of the opportunities we've afforded students to have that technology in their hands that makes a big difference. So I just want to, it just reaffirms that we're doing the right thing, and I hope we continue to do it and get the word out and continue to get the word out to all households. I know people watch this on TV, that you can have a computer and access to the internet, and all you do is contact the district's website. I know because I used it. You can go to the website, click on it, and call the 1-800 number, or you can contact your site administrator, your principal at your school.
Madam President, I want to publicly thank Mr. Tillman, because he's the one that opened the doors at the county for our kids. And I remember that you said, well, I would like to see that we get students to be apprentices in our, not only in our county, but even in our school district.
Exactly.
That's what you stated. So I want to acknowledge that publicly.
Thank you.
That you are visionary.
Yes.
And of course, Dr. Marsden, you followed through with it, so, and cabinet. So I think it's wonderful.
It makes a huge difference. And,
Right.
and the one student, he asked me, how do I get on full time?
Right.
And I took him to the website and printed out some positions that he can qualify
Wow.
for. And as he goes, he can be working these jobs as he goes to college. But it's just, it opens up a whole world they knew
Right.
nothing about.
And the opportunities, and we're right here, and there's,
Yes.
kids didn't even know about it.
Exactly.
So I think that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Now,
so-
The students I have, introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Vargas, and I'm in 6th grade at Bob Holcomb Elementary.
My name is Monique Vargas, and I'm from Holcomb, and I'm in the 6th grade.
And they were the Black History Bee champions. And the Black History Bee is hosted by one of, we can give them a round of applause.
Congratulations.
The Black History Bee is hosted by an organization that Dr. Hill is affiliated with. What is it, Phi Delta Kappa, is that right?
National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa,
Excuse me.
Delta Road Chapter, San Bernardino, California.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And they do great work. And I've been doing it for 24 years that I've been on the board. But these students are going to recite poems. So after you take your picture, I want you to give me 2 poems, all right? And you could be one short one and one long one, but it's up to you. But give me 2 poems. And this is just the way they acted at the Black History Bee. She was bossing him around. Go ahead.
So can I see the first one? Can I see the first one?
Freedom will not come today this year to compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my own 2 feet and own the land. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. Freedom is a strong seed planted in great need.
Go ahead. You're a team. You can help finish.
I do not need my freedom when I am dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed planted in great need. I live here too. I want freedom just as you.
All right.
Great job. Good job.
And one more.
Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore?
And then run. Does it stink like rotten meat and crushed in sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?
And what poem was that?
Harlem, what happens to a dream deferred?
All right.
That's good.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
All
Good
right.
job, students.
Thank you so much. And I know it's not easy doing it in front of people, but and also knowing the fact that there's cameras pointing at you and then you can see yourself in front, so it's not an easy task. And you both did amazing, especially the teamwork. So thank you, Mr. Tillman, for bringing this forward, and they did great.
And I want to thank the coaches. Are the coaches, any coaches here? But I want to thank them too, because I know it takes a lot of time and effort, so I really appreciate the extra effort that the coaches put in. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much for that. That was great. We're going to go ahead and go to 2.1, recognition of academic decathlon team. We have Linda Bardier, if you can go ahead and come forward, and if board members can come in front so we can congratulate the team.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today as we honor San Gorgonio High School for its strong 5th place finish at the recent San Bernardino County Academic Decathlon. We will begin by honoring the students, then we will honor the coach and the volunteers who dedicated countless hours to help students prepare for this very tough academic competition. At this time, I invite San Gorgonio High School Principal, Ms. Dion Clark, and any of her fellow administrators to please join us up front. Okay, students, I'm going to invite the academic decathlon team members to please come forward as a group. Begin on the side where our photographer, Karina Borsic, is, and that way you can greet all of our wonderful school board members and our superintendent. Don't be shy. Make your way up front. And I'm going to introduce the members of the varsity team. Ashley Alvarado, Jason DiTullio, Brianna Green, Carolina Hochbaum, Matthew Jackson, Jason Jackson, Athena Vo, Destiny Wright, and Osiel Zavalaza. So those are the varsity team. Let's give them a round of applause. And our students, you're going to stay up here because we're going to take a wonderful group picture. Now we will introduce our junior varsity team. They should be already up here. Kaylani Caldwell, Kimberly Douglas, Dennis Vaughn, Aaron Rodriguez, Jenny Rosales, Yvonne Ta, and Jeffrey Uman. Let's give the JV team a big round of applause. We had so many outstanding students that there was also an alternate team, and those members should also be up here to be honored. Elvis Bowie, Tony Bowie, Destiny Enriquez, Caitlin Liu, Xochitl Vega, and Ethan Vo. Let's give the alternates a big round of applause. As you know, the team could not have achieved 5th place without the help of their dedicated coach, Ms. Irene Awad Shendi. Would you please come forward? Thank you, Mrs. Shendi. She spent many hours preparing and encouraging students every step of the way. In addition to Coach Irene, I would like to invite the following volunteers to come forward. Tina Bowie, Amina El-Zatma, Rhonda Force, Carol Galindo, Bradley Horton, Mahalani Njirmang, Jose Patino, Chinipa Pennypring, Robert Rock, and Patricia Shaw El-Zatma. Those are our volunteers. Let's give them a big round of applause. We're going to take one nice picture to commemorate their outstanding 5th place finish. Yeah, make sure you can see the cameras. There's lots of them. It's your paparazzi moment. Audience, let's give them another big round of applause. This is an amazing accomplishment. All right. And this concludes special recognitions for tonight's school board meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
All right, everyone, congratulations. This should show that we are doing amazing things in our school district. Congratulations to our Spartans from San Gorgonio High School, and of course, our amazing principal, Dion Clark. So thank you so much for all your work. We're gonna go ahead and go to closed session items. Closed session. Were there any public comments for closed session? No? Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and convene, go to closed session. Just know that we should be back. We don't have a time yet? 6:45, around 6:45. Okay, thank you. So then we have the board members. We have enough for a quorum. So let's go ahead. I will now open the public hearing. No, wait, are we there? No, we will reconvene to open session. Now 5.0, which is public hearings. I will now open the public hearing. And then 5.1, public hearing for ASA Charter School. Are there any comments or?
Double checking, Madam President, and I do not believe we have any on this
I see
specific
someone
topic.
coming up to the podium.
We do have someone on this topic.
Is this
and
for
here
the
she is.
ASA?
Yes.
Very
Okay.
good, welcome.
ASA Charter
So if you can give
School.
your name.
Susan Lucy, I'm the principal.
Okay.
And I believe, did everybody get the handout? Oh, here she comes. I will not be long. We will not take up much of your time this evening. We left the marching band at home, and the multiple parents that wanted to speak, although I have one group here tonight, one person here tonight. But I put together this fact sheet because I thought maybe it would be an easier way to give you a general overview of where ASA Charter School stands at the moment. ASA, just briefly to go over it, ASA first opened in 2004 and moved into the current address in 2008. Our current enrollment is, as of today, actually 272. So we've gone up a few. We are WASC accredited. This year we are beginning our self-study for the visit in 2019-20. We have a K through 8 traditional model. The school up until 3 years ago was all seat time for high school too. But for high school, that didn't work for ASA. We now have a 9 through 12 independent study. All courses are now A through G accredited. And we are offering honors and AP courses now too, which we're very proud of. All teachers, 18 teachers are credentialed, and we do have a high school counselor, which has helped tremendously. Strong parent group, although that's still growing. Homeless and foster student liaison, and we do have 33 families that take advantage of whatever our services, what we can offer. We have a very strong college career readiness program. All students in high school take 4 semesters of college career readiness basic, sort of a high school, a career exploration, etc. And we offer a really cool culinary arts program now, which the students are enjoying and taking advantage of. And many of them have part-time jobs now because of this. Our next pathway will be our business and marketing pathway, and that we're going to start in middle school. And so we're excited about adding that. We have a new school website, which we worked on very hard, and it's looking good. We partnered with the Inland Career Education Center, and we're working with Gateway College. We have early start and free and after school program, and this year we've applied for an ACES grant, and we'll be adding more enrichment classes for our kids. Free breakfast and lunch program, free tutoring for all students. ASA, we consider, is a very safe and secure school, and we do have on-campus security. It's a closed campus. We have a very solid guest speaker program. We do have EL services, and we do have special ed services that we partner with the district for. We have an increase in our graduation rate. We have had no expulsions in 3 years, and our suspension rate is lowered significantly. We went through a multi-measure review this year with CCSA, the California Charter School Association, and we passed that. So in my opinion, and I believe in my parents' and students' opinion, ASA is a good school to go to. It's a great little school. We're not huge, but we are growing. And we're very proud of who we are and how far we've come. And I just going to bring up, if that's okay with you, a couple of people to share their opinions and feelings about the school. But I have warned everybody to keep it to a minute or two. Thank you. So first is Mr. Bailey, who is a 6th grade teacher.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Hill, I read your article every Sunday. So I have a couple of them on my desk at school right now. My name is Keith Bailey. I've been an educator in public schools since 1974. Yes, I'm that old. By the way, I am a graduate of Pacific High School, so I am from San Rose City Unified School District. You got you another pirate, I hope? Yeah? Okay. This year I was extremely fortunate to receive a teaching position at the charter school at ASA. I admit I knew little about the charter school at that time, okay? I was very excited about the fact that the class sizes were small and that we had really good access to materials and services. You see, I was used to having 36 students an hour for 5 hours a day. So I had 180 students when I was teaching in high school, okay? I had 15 to start out, I now have 19. We have grown. The smaller staff, teaching staff, allows us to have more sharing of ideas and assistance with students. We cooperate with each other, with our students as well. It's a blessing for the teachers to have all that, but there's something I know now that I didn't know before. Smaller class size is an obvious advantage, but after back-to-school nights and a couple of parent conference periods, which we had at the end of each trimester, I was able to talk to the parents about what they felt. And here were their concerns. Parents talked about unruly behavior sometimes in some of the public schools and also safety concerns at those schools. I have had 5 new students in my classes, and I've asked each one and their parents, and they've said they've had similar things. Parents and students want and need an alternative to public school. We know that, okay? Let's face the facts also, not every young person is made for a large public school situation. The smaller school and the smaller process is good for them. I feel my students have thrived, and the students at ASA have thrived over these past years and the past months I've been there. Charter schools are a choice. We live in a society of choices. ASA Charter Schools allows us one of those choices. Thank you.
Excuse me, what grade do you teach?
6th.
Thank you.
And tell you what, it's a lot of fun. Have a good time. You betcha.
Thank
Okay,
you.
next I'd like to bring up Mrs. Pilgrim, Jamie Pilgrim, who is a parent of 2 young ladies at our charter school.
Hello, my name is Jamie Pilgrim. I am mother to 2 girls at ASA Charter School in the 3rd grade and the 4th grade, and we're our 2nd generation charter family. So back in 2004, we had my niece there. She's actually attending Alabama, Tuskegee right now, and she started at ASA. Now my daughters go there, and we've been there since kindergarten. ASA offers full-day pre-K, before school program, after school program, which is amazing for a single working mother. It's a small community, so that's where the safety comes in, because all of us know each other by first name. Our office administrators know me. Like when I come in, they don't have to scrimmage to figure out who I am. They already know who I am. The communication there is very good because we do have a very small population, so our community there. So communication across the board, everyone is in the know, or I feel like we're in the know, and we have security, so I always feel like my girls are secure, and it just feels like family. ASA to me is like an extended family. Like if I'm going through something, if I have a bad day at work or whatever, like this staff is just right there, like to give me a hug. They all know it's a very personal, close to home. I love ASA. I've actually taken them out when I moved a little further. I took them out of ASA, and we didn't even last a year. No, we came back within that same school year, just because it's not the same. I love that my girls are in a smaller class, so they get that one-on-one attention. The teachers are on point. We have class dojo, so I get like alerts throughout the day. We have field trips. I love the awards assembly, the Christmas program. Like everything is just so active. They're so involved and they care, and that was the big thing. I'm not just another parent in a school. Like, this is like a family. So go Asa.
And I have, I'm going to ask Alex Hernandez to come up very quickly. Alex is a graduate, recent graduate of ASA. In fact, she spent half her life at ASA.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alexandra Hernandez. I am a graduate from ASA Charter School. In fact, I was salutatorian. I am here to talk to you guys tonight that I had spent my entire early educational years at ASA. ASA for me is not just, I'm sorry, it's not a school for education. But it's a family to me. They have been there for me through personal reasons, personal tragedies, I'm sorry. Now I am working there part-time at ASA. I work in the day camp area, the after-school program, and I just love it. Yeah, sorry. Excuse me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great job.
All right, and our last person, the mother is here. She's written a letter, so I'm going to read it, if that's okay, and I'm going to bring up the young man that this letter is about. Here he is, Maddox. All right. You want to say hi?
Maybe if you can come forward to the side, there you go, so we could see him. Oh, but then the TV world can't see him. Oh, wait, there you go, perfect. See, there you go.
Hello, my name is Maddox and I'm in 3rd grade. I like ASA and I feel secure and safe there.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Great job, good job.
Okay, you want to stay with me while I read this letter, or you want to sit down? Okay, good. All right, so letter says, to whom it may concern. My name is Beverly Betts, and I'm the proud parent to Maddox Castro, a 3rd grade honor roll student in attendance at ASA Charter School in San Bernardino. Maddox has been attending ASA since kindergarten, and we wouldn't have it any other way. ASA has helped my family in so many different ways, both emotionally and with my son's diagnosis and physically. During my son's first year in attendance with ASA, Maddox was diagnosed as type 1 diabetic. The support that we received in regards and continue to receive from the staff has been tremendous. The teachers and students were intrigued and interested in learning more about his condition, and it turned something so unfamiliar and unsure into something familiar and positive for our family. The research and training from the staff was extremely helpful, and Maddox was able to continue being the amazing, outstanding little man that he is. The teachers and staff here at ASA Charter School make our family feel safe and welcomed. The smaller classroom size gives my child the attention that he and every other child in attendance deserve from their teachers and staff. I feel especially with Maddox's condition that he is safe, the proper care is given, and that he is well taken care of. I fully support ASA Charter School in their growth and have recommended this school to many families. I will continue to spread the word and can only hope to see the future of the school continue to grow and help many more students and families. Sincerely, Beverly Betts. Okay, so, and I, of course, am very proud of our school, of my teachers, of our kids, And I appreciate the opportunity to share some of that with you this evening. So thank you for listening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And one of the questions, oh, Dr. Flores, go ahead.
Thank you for coming, Maddox. It's very nice to see you. I just have a couple of questions. I've been asking what ASA stands for.
Well, yeah, that was probably my first question when I went there too.
Yeah.
It actually, the lady that initially started the school, it was her father's name.
Oh, okay. So it stands for him.
And
okay.
it doesn't,
ASA.
yeah.
Okay, great. And I wondered if you also had a graduation rate. What your
This year I had a percentage. We increased our graduation rate this year 22.4%.
Okay.
Now we're not huge,
Right.
But we are definitely on the up. So
On the up. Okay, great.
This year we probably have at the moment about 65 students in high school, and this year we'll probably graduate about 15.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you did say how long you've been in our district. Did you?
Me?
No. How
how
many
long
years?
the school's
ASA?
been? Yeah, since 2004.
2004. Yeah, I missed
And
that.
at the current
Okay.
site since 2008 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much,
All right.
Dr. Marsden. Was there
Yeah.
any other?
No other comments on this topic.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I will now close this public hearing. Okay, going to 6.0, student board member comments. Unfortunately, the board members had to leave, which is a good thing because that means they're back home doing their work, their schoolwork. 7.0, public comments. This is a time during the agenda when the Board of Education is prepared to receive comments from members of the public on any matter within its subject matter jurisdiction. The time limit for public comment by 6 or more individuals on one topic is 30 minutes. Dr. Marsden, are there any comments? And just before Dr. Marsden calls, I just want to note that there is a timer right behind us, so if you could note that, and then you most likely will be buzzed at the 5-minute mark. All right, Dr. Marsden?
Thank you, Madam President. So there are a number of public comments. There are 2 specific comments that are listed for items 8.1 and 10.15 respectively. And so just so the public's aware, when the board comes to those items, they will discuss the items, staff will respond to that discussion, then we'll call up for public comment after the board's had that discussion and answered all their questions among staff. And then once the public comment is made, the board may discuss with staff further, but just want you to know the process. So first tonight under general public comments, we'll call first is Public Safety Academy. Charter School Spotlight is their topic. Welcome and good evening. And then we'll ask Mr. Alfredo Aguero to be up on stage and then up on deck, next speaker after Public Safety Academy. And then we have Miss Angela Loero and guests present after that. Maria Rodriguez will follow by Troy Mondragon and Linda Hart.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jennifer Stickle, and I'm the principal at Public Safety Academy. And this evening, I have brought some of my 8th graders to tell you a little bit about what's been going on at Public Safety Academy Charter School. So I'd like to introduce to you Ruby, Angel, Sandra, Juan, Alexandra, Lynette. Oh, and Richard didn't come, so he's here with us in spirit. And Lynette.
PSA prepares us if we want a future career in public safety. Some of the careers we focus on at PSA are police, fire, and military. Some of the high school electives that PSA offers are police dispatch, corrections, law and justice, emergency medical response, and fire protection services.
Over the summer, we are given the opportunity. Over the summer, we are given the opportunity to take a CERT class that stands for Community Emergency Response Team. We learn how to handle large-scale emergency situations such as major earthquakes or fire, and what to do while waiting for a rescue crew to arrive.
Another good thing about PSA is the hands-on fire training we get each month. We are able to go outside and practice hooking up and spraying the fire hoses. We get to try on the fire gear and learn about the parts of the fire engine we have on our campus.
Our teachers at PSA are thoughtful and have high expectations for us. My favorite class is English because I love to write. I feel like my English teacher is pushing me and preparing me for college. Recently, our entire class increased our in-terms test scores through hard work and practice.
I think the school has great communication with students and parents. Our parents are always contact the Parent Square when there are events or meetings. There is good communication with students as well. Students can email their teachers whenever we need something, and our teachers will always get back to us.
At our school, we follow the 6 pillars of character, which are trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. We follow these pillars because we believe having good character is as important as a good education.
So just so you all know, I had my volunteers who wanted to participate with me tonight, I had them sit down and write out what they wanted to say, and that was it. So this is all in their own words and thoughts, and if you have any questions for them, please feel free to ask. But on behalf of PSA, thank you for your support, and we're happy to continue being partners in San Bernardino together. So thanks for having us.
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming tonight.
Thank you.
Well done, students. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Board welcomes Mr. Alfredo Aguero. Good evening. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. First, I have to say thanks for all the help we've been having for the events we have in special education. I have to mention that I have to change the name of on the logo. I take out ICUC from it, and now is the group Parents, Empowering Parents on Special Education in San Bernardino. And it's a reason for that. I came to ask to find the truth about the situation I get thanks to Mr. Tom Dolan from ICUC PICO director and San Bernardino City Unified School District personnel. The arguments that Mr. Dolan used to get me out of ICUC PICO was that 2 persons from San Bernardino Unified School District called him with some complaints. I get a meeting with one of these persons, and she told me that they never called Mr. Dolan with no complaints. According to her, Mr. Dolan requested for a meeting with them. So he told them, and the arguments was that people was complaining about me. He told me that I can represent myself as ICU PICO member, and I can work in the special education area anymore. As you see, are 2 different stories, and I want to be clear on this issue because this is hurting my personal life and work. So please, I'd like to mention that I try, and with emails, with you, Mr. Martin, with you, Mr. Flores, I talk to you, and I try to set up a meeting with them because it's not fair that what I'm doing is to help the parents to advocate for themselves, for the kids. And people is coming to stop somebody who is helping, even to the district, because this is not to hurt the district. When we help the parents to help the kids, we help each other. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to talk to see if it's possible to set up a meeting with everybody on the table and make everything clear. I don't look to hurt anybody. I just try to save myself, because these people in another district has mentioned this issue. I don't know how it goes there. I know I'm a public servant. I know I'm a part of the public, and they can say things about me, but if somebody invents stories, it's not fair. I like to clear this, and if it's possible, to give me a date to get a meeting with the persons I mentioned on in the emails, but I want Mr. Tom Dolan and Mr. Sergio Luna on the table because they are the ones who all make all this mess because it's a mess. They take me out of ICUC with arguments on the board, on ICUC board meetings, twice, without giving me the opportunity to defend myself. And I said to everybody, even the worst criminal got a chance to represent themselves on court or to get somebody, a witness. That's an opportunity I didn't have. I give them that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gore.
Thank you.
Board welcomes Miss Angela Loera and Cassandra Andother. And they want to come and speak with us about the SLIC program. Good evening and welcome. Glad you're here.
Good evening. My name is Cassandra Felix.
Yeah, unfortunately, you kind of have to eat it almost, just a little bit. Act like that. Yeah, you get real close to your mouth when you're talking. Just switch off when you're
Okay.
ready. Yeah.
I know. My name is Angela Loera. We have a quick question about SLIC. We would like to know if it is approved for San Bernardino High School.
So I think if you're speaking to the topic that's on the agenda tonight, the board hasn't gone to that topic yet. It's
Okay.
under our consent calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's later in the
Okay.
agenda, yeah. So we're considering that this evening. That's being considered by the board this evening. So tonight, they will consider that item.
I got it. Unfortunately, we have to leave because we have our SATs tomorrow.
Yes.
So we have to go home and cram.
Yes, you do.
But we would like to let you know that it is really sad when students ask us if SLIC is going to come back and we have to respond with, we're not sure. And they think that we're supposed to be the one to have the answers, but we don't know what to say. And we don't want to look like the bad guys and say, well, we don't know, you have to go ask yourself.
Well, I can help you.
So-
So what you do tonight is after you're done cramming, the last thing you do before you go to bed is watch the video, and you'll see how the board votes, and you'll be able to have an answer for them tomorrow.
Okay.
There you go.
I'll look forward to that.
There you go. All right, great.
But if you do have comments now, might
Please,
as well,
yeah, this
please,
is the point for
please,
the
you don't have
comments.
to wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say thank you for bringing SLIC to Arroyo, and thank you for bringing it to Middle College. It has been one of the best experiences of my life. And I know that I can say that many of the other students who went to SLIC also think it was a really good experience. And we have many students looking forward to the next SLIC, if there is one. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think there was a parent that wants to speak.
Good evening, board members, Madam President. My name is Lira Cineros Felix. Hope you know me. I just want to give you, tell you a little short story about SLIC. My child was part of it, and she's had a tremendous evolution with SLIC. But aside from that, personal experience. My short story is about a 16-year-old child that attends one of our high schools, went through SLIC. I understand that the counselors are trained through the wellness department to provide assistance or counseling to our students, because that's one of the things that the past committee from DLAC asked for, that our students be taken care of or be considered with their mental health. This student has been suffering from depression and many other issues. Starts missing school, has mood swings, wants to hit mom and whoever crosses her path. Now, mom comes to school and tells the counselor, my child is not feeling well. She's going through some short episodes of depression. Oh, don't worry, ma'am. Your child has perfect attendance. If she has any missing assignments, you can swing by and pick them up later. Don't worry, no worries. No help is provided to the mother. I know this parent. I know this child. My daughter's friend. Who do I go for help? No one else. I remembered that this particular child went through SLIC at Arroyo High School. I get in touch with the coordinator, one of the coordinators from SLIC, Ms. Consuelo Kickbush. Immediately, she goes and she visits because this child ended up in behavioral health because nobody in the school provided or offered any help or support. When are we going to change things? Our kids matter. Our kids really matter. And let me just remind you something. All of you, teachers, every personnel in the district has a job, and you're sitting there because the entire San Bernardino City. Thank you. So please consider SLIC because our kids need it. If the district, if the school is not going to help them out, let somebody else provide the help our kids need. Or what is it going to take? A chain of suicides in our schools like it happened in Rancho Cucamonga at the beginning of the school year? Is that what we want? So be it then. Thank you.
Thank you. Board welcomes Ms. Maria Rodriguez on the program for GATE, and I believe she'll have an interpreter. Good evening, buenas noches, bienvenidos.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es María Rodríguez. No hablo mucho inglés, pero tengo a la persona y los datos que tengo ahí para que ella mencione.
Good evening, my name is Maria Rodriguez. I don't speak much English, but I have a translator for tonight to give key points. My key points are regarding evaluating students through their academic levels instead of testing in order to be placed in the GATE program. We need to change the structure to qualify into this GATE program. We want to re-evaluate children who are in the program, and maybe we can change curriculum in order to give more opportunities to other students who can demonstrate their abilities in perhaps language arts or mathematics, for example. 7 years ago, my daughters were evaluated and placed directly into the advanced program. In 3rd grade, they were placed into the GATE program. They did not have to be placed on a wait list like it happens today. Today, there is now a wait list in order to be placed into GATE. We believe that they should evaluate students who have already been enrolled into school and place them into adequate grade levels. And tests are changed last minute when children have already prepared for a previous test. That's happening today. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sí.
I do have, muchas gracias por sus comentarios. I do have where you said that there's a waiting list for the GATE programs. Hay una línea de espera. And I think there was at one point when I started, when I first became a school board member, was to look at GATE programs as well as the EL because you can't necessarily do both. Is that something, I mean, that's a question for the district later on, but we need to start looking at some opportunities there because if we have a waiting list, yeah, that's an issue. And what school does your child go to? Maybe I didn't hear that. ¿A qué escuela va?
Anton.
Anton.
Perdona, Ramón Alessandro.
Ramón Alessandro.
Ajá. Y yo en el distrito, lo que usted está comentando, si es cierto, me dijeron que a pesar de que la niña hubiera pasado el examen, ella iba a estar en lista de espera y no la iban a poner en GATE. Okay. Entonces esa es mi frustración porque como ella comentó, los niños, cuando mis hijas fueron evaluadas, fueron directamente a GATE. Ellas estaban en homeschool. Las saqué y las puse a escuela del distrito y en aquel entonces estaba en el Carousel Mall. Ahí mismo le hicieron la evaluación a ellas y les dijeron, ¿sabes qué? Estas niñas van para programa acelerado y de ahí se van para GATE. Pero ahorita ya me están haciendo mucho problema. La niña ahorita tuvo 2 puntos para pasar ese examen y hablé con su maestra y ella dice, ¿sabes qué? Tu hija académicamente va bien, que
Can-
hubiera
can
otra
someone-
estructura.
Excuse me, can someone translate?
Yes. So she said that before, in the past, her two daughters were placed directly into the GATE program. There was no wait list. At that time, they tested at the Carousel Mall, actually, and they were enrolled into the GATE program. Now, for example, her daughter has been doing great academically. She tested to be placed into GATE, and she missed the mark by 2 points. So now she's looking at a wait list that takes anywhere from 6 months to 6 years, is what she was told. And so she's hopefully trying to see what we can do to reevaluate those.
Very good. And so we have your contact information, so someone from our offices will reach out and try to understand your specific situation.
And then I'd like to ask Dr. Marsden, maybe the district can clarify, we may not have the information right now, but it'd be good to know if there's, it sounds like the wait list you're talking about is to be tested again. So is there a wait list for testing of GATE? And then two, is there a wait list to get placed into GATE?
We'll be happy to provide the board with that information.
Thank you, and thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
out.
And Dr.
Thank you
Flores.
so much. Muchas
Dr.
gracias.
Lo voy a decir en español primero. Le voy a preguntar. ¿Estaban en el programa GATE antes? No. I asked her if were they in the program before. Were they in the GATE program before? ¿Esta sí? She was, sí, ella sí?
No, porque ella nunca me la evaluaron para poder.
Oh, they didn't never.
Oh, okay, so
evaluate
she's
her.
saying they never evaluated her. Okay, the one that, her daughter that she brought here. Okay, I was just clarifying.
Okay.
Okay,
I
so
thought-
you'll follow up, Doctor, okay, I agree with Mr. Tillman. We need to provide a way.
We'll
yeah.
follow up with
And
your
it speaks to
board
what President Medina had said, that we have to open up more spaces for our GATE kids.
We'll dig into it and find out what the needs are.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming tonight. Board welcomes, I think it's Troy Mondragon and Linda Hart. Welcome, good evening. Mental Health Month campus event in May.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
And thank you for having us here. And yes, sir, Mondragon, it's right there. So thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that.
Thank you.
I'm also, in addition to being a community member, I'm also a member of the Behavioral Health Commission for San Bernardino County, and a social worker, which this is Social Worker Appreciation Month for everybody who didn't know.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So how many people here know that May is Mental Health Month?
Yep.
Couple people. How many here by a show of hands understand that mental health is extremely important for all of us? Okay, just always like to make sure I'm in the right place. And I know I am, because Gwen and we were able to meet at Coffee with Ramos on Saturday and talk more about this. As you all know, it's quite the issue in our communities as well as throughout society right now. I've been working with mental health for years, speaking. I'm 35, I've been doing this for 20 years, so since I was 15. And I've concluded one thing is certain about mental health, that it is the worst subject to talk about. It is very difficult, and where do you begin is often the question. At Cal State San Bernardino, where I completed my graduate work for social work in 2015, we had a couple tragedies there. And in the mental health community, there are several tragedies that we face. Our families deal with, our consumers deal with. It's often suicide, possibly suicide by officer, or losing your life in a fatal interaction with an officer. We unfortunately had both of those incidents, 2011 suicide and 2012 with officer-involved shooting. How do you address mental health? And on top of that, well, as you can see, those little pictures of all those flowers and all those bright smiling faces is exactly what we did at Cal State San Bernardino. And it's with the unwavering support of our social work, School of Social Work, the institution itself, the president, as well as our law enforcement, because these tragedies happen, shouldn't happen, but we need to do whatever we can to prevent them. And so coming out forward with the brightness, the positivity, the kind of carnival-like atmosphere, if you will, is quite the opposite of mental health. You type in mental health on Google, I encourage all of you to do this after and find out what kind of imagery comes up. So we want to really give people the opposite imagery of that. And this year we'll be celebrating our 7th annual campus event. We have it on Cal State San Bernardino, Valley College, Crafton Hills College, National University. We're working with Victor Valley College, college out in Morongo Basin. And I'm here tonight as a community member, as a social worker, and a member of the Behavioral Health Commission to ask that San Bernardino school district be the first school district to join in this mental health movement on our campuses for May 7th, and that is a Tuesday. All the campuses will be celebrating that day. I understand that the time is relative to each campus, so whenever, but doing it all on the same day and blowing up our social media, having all of this is so empowering, and it addresses not only for our students, but for our faculty, as well as our emergency responders. As I'm sure you all are aware, they deal with a lot of trauma themselves. And so it really is this all equation positive event that we do. And the hope is doing it year after year after year. Not only will we take away the stigma, but also our little ones will grow up and it will be a no issue to address their mental health concerns. And again, that's May 7th. It's a Tuesday. It's an all-campus event. I will be reaching out to UCLA. This is planned to go throughout the country as well as export outside of our country as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Linda Hart. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Again, we look forward to participating in this year's event. This will be our first opportunity to do so. But again, when we talk about the students and those challenges and difficulties when it comes to having conversations centered around mental health, we want to be able to open up and have access for them to do that and be creative and to be able to express. Just hearing what the parent had to say earlier about one particular student not having the opportunity to have access, well, we want to be able to open that up by also having vendors there that will be there to give out access, resources, and information on how to be able to help themselves and their families. So again, if there's anything that our organization can do, the African American Mental Health Coalition can do to help those schools that you identify who may want to participate in this activity, please reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to do so. Again, thank you for listening to us.
So,
Hold on, before Mr. Tillman, Ms. Rogers, Mr. Tillman, and then Dr. Flores.
Thank you for coming. I heard a little bit about this on Saturday, so I was really excited to hear. On what is your ask of us? I'm trying to find out so how the district can support it, because I got the date, we know the date, and Dr. Marsden, I guess, you know, we could get some direction as to how to coordinate, because this is awareness. Again, this is just honoring the awareness of it. So can you kind of clarify that, or, you know, determine what we would need to do?
Yeah, thank you. So what we're looking to have is on the 7th to celebrate, to have some kind of event, some kind of fair on your campuses on the 7th, on Tuesday. In addition to that, incorporating the factors that emphasize happiness and positivity. So we order real life flowers. We actually have a parade that we take students on throughout the campus, and they hand out flowers as well. So that's some exercise, some positivity. And in addition is having, you know, some of the vendors that can actually be here to hopefully give information. But really it's about cultural competency and whatever it is you need.
Right, and the clarification, this is not impacting the school day. This would be at a coordinated time, has nothing to do with impacting the day or, you know, their instructional time, right?
Absolutely, that's correct.
And then lastly, was there a mention, I think you mentioned this before, you guys are looking to create a resolution or do like you did with the Mental Health Week for schools as well, so that it could be honored?
Thank you for that. Yeah, so we're going to be working with Assemblymember Ramos to bring something forward to establish the first week in May. Yeah, bless you. The first week in May as Campus Mental Health Week in the context of May, because, you know, we want to do this year after year, but we understand it may not be feasible for everybody to do it on a particular day. But if we can do it in at least the beginning of the week and take all of May to celebrate mental health is the idea. You're welcome.
Mr. Tillman?
Yes, and I guess and maybe Dr. Marsden, this would be something that we maybe can agendize for a future meeting, because the parent brought up a good question about if they know of a student who has mental health issues, and say if they go to one of our site counselors, I'm sure there's some type of protocol on how it's supposed to work. Be good to hear that. I know I just Googled San Bernardino County and mental health hotline. There's a hotline there for the county and with multiple numbers. One for, of course, it was a crisis 911, but then they have a 386-8256 number also. But for I guess generally, it'd be good to know for just as school board members, when there is a mental health problem, what is our protocol and who do we contact and how do we get services to the students? And on this event for May the 7th, I guess what's important to me, if we're going to have an event like this, that we have those kind of questions answered. So if someone takes a courageous step to say, hey, I need some help, then we got to make sure we be able to refer them to someplace and give them the help. You said vendor. I was a little scary about the vendor part because all vendors aren't free. So what is it? Right, but I mean, I just want to make sure. I'm sure there are some vendors probably that do charge.
Yeah.
But there's got to be. I want to make sure that there's clear direction that there's an agency here that can help you for free.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and thank you for asking for clarification. I'm used to campus speak where we just call everybody a vendor, but no, some of those end up being student organizations. Some are already on campus. We have our health center, our psychological counseling center that's out there, our PD that's out there. So that's really up to the school's discretion. I mean, if you have in-house resources, that's what would be preferable. So it's more of a generic term to capture anybody and everybody who shows up with material.
You said everything on the same day. My only question, we have like over 70 sites. That doesn't pose a problem in terms of having the experts. Are there enough experts to go to every campus?
Well, because it's within the campuses, it turns out to be okay because on our college campuses, there's enough resources on them.
Right.
As far as what that looks like, the logistics of that, I don't see that being a problem. The important part really is emphasizing an event.
To start talking about it.
Yes, sir, and having the lime green ribbons, which I'm wearing, and the flowers, and to begin to change the environment and the culture, but to not run into to anybody's budget or time for that matter.
Thank you.
And I want to remind the board this is a public comment, so Dr. Flores.
Yes. First of all, thank you for coming and alerting us and inviting us to participate. It's a real important issue that we've been dealing with, as evidenced by Angela and Cassandra. I think they're still here. Thank you. Are they still here? Thank you for coming. It is an issue, and I want to know also what our protocol is when parents reach out or students reach out in crises, because they're in crises.
Yeah.
And the fact that they reached out and then are dismissed is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And I also would like to, not now, but maybe you can be in contact with our director, Dr. Rose.
Dr. Lorraine Price.
Dr. Pettis.
This is superintendent.
Because, how is it that you can provide services, or we don't know I don't know the services that our families and our students could access from the county? It would be really great to know. I know we're starting it, and we're starting to reach out, but what exactly could, our community, touch on and know precisely what they could do?
Yeah.
Our kids are beginning to reach out, but when they reach out, where do they go?
Yeah.
And what do we do? And that's important.
Absolutely.
And I love that you said we have to change the culture, because people believe that it's not good to reach out if you're depressed, or if you're feel suicidal, or just feel sad. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
And those are feelings and emotions that can take over your whole psyche. And how do our kids get out of it, so that they don't go so deep that they're contemplating suicide, or harming themselves or harming others. So I really appreciate you coming. And thank you, Ms. Hart. You're always coming before us, and really appreciate it, because it's important. And like Mrs. Cisneros said, our kids matter.
Absolutely.
And it's really important. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Flores. Thank you so much for coming down and speaking.
Thank you, Board.
And I believe that's it for our public comments. Let's go ahead and go to 8.0, administrative reports. 8.1, facilities master plan and financing update. Dr. Marsden, can you introduce the presentation?
Yes, it's my pleasure. So Board, tonight, Ms. Christakos and team are presenting an update on the facilities master planning and financing. This is one time that bringing together a subcommittee of the Board has been helpful to ensure tonight's presentation anticipates questions you may have as we embark on considerations for modernization, updates, and new construction for the next decade. Throughout the presentation, Ms. Christakos will lay out for the Board the advantages of using our existing general obligation bonds, accessing state matching grants, and leveraging redevelopment dollars. After her team's presentation concludes, they would then like to have the Board subcommittee comment further or clarify, then open up for questions that you may have as a whole. And then as a reminder, Board, we do have one public comment on this item which we'll entertain after all discussion from the Board's concluded. With that, good evening and welcome Ms. Christakos and Mr. Pace and team.
Good evening, Board. We're pleased to present you with the district's very first comprehensive district-wide master facility plan and needs assessment plan, and we're going to go over the highlights of those plans with you this evening. We're going to talk about financial analysis and outlooks as we move forward, and some recommendations and next steps as we move into our next board meeting. And for now, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pace, and he's going to talk about the major plan elements of the master plan.
Good evening, Board. I'm excited to be here with you tonight. A little bit of housekeeping. You should have about 3 to 9 items in front of you for tonight's presentation. You have a board book that follows the presentation, and you have 2 presentations, one with notes and one without notes. In November of 2017, we began work on our first long-range facility master plan, and tonight we are pleased to share with you the executive summary of its findings and recommendations. You might be wondering what a facility master plan is. By nature, a facility master plan is a dynamic, long-term conceptual vision that helps guide future spending practices. Master planning makes objective appraisals of existing environments, establishes future planning strategies, mirrors our academic vision and guidelines, and creates physical learning environments. 50% of the world's populations live in urban environments, and by 2050, that number is going to grow to 64%. The need for efficient master planning is now, and the time has never been greater due to the urbanization of the world's population. The success of any facility master plan depends on its strategic framework. The framework of our master plan relies on 4 items. First, educational specifications. Educational specifications align educational instructional practices with physical learning environments. 2, residential growth mitigates demographic shifts over time. 3, needs assessment prioritizes facility improvements. 4, financial plan couples district need with available resources. The amalgamation of these 4 elements into one single body without the loss of individual identity was our greatest challenge. I would like to now provide a little insight into each of the 4 major elements of our master plan. The key to aligning educational and instructional practices with our physical learning environments is through collaboration with key stakeholder across the district. We do this so that we can effectively communicate the district's vision, values, hopes, and aspirations with architects and builders. Educational specifications provide the definition of what to build, and your residential growth determines where and when to build. Demographers studied residential and commercial growth over 3 time periods, 5, 10, and 20 years. In your briefing book, you were provided the 10-year residential development report for your review. That's on pages 18 through 29. These studies project healthy growth for the city and areas in the San Bernardino district. The greatest single year of projected student growth is 2023. Although we have experienced declining enrollment over the last few years, we believe that future residential growth will help offset those declines.
Tom, can I make a comment on the previous slide? You'll see the schools are listed on the side: Cajon, Chavez, Pacuma, Pacific, and San Gorgonio. This is where we project some of the building may impact these sites, so we want to be prepared in what we need to do to accommodate any new students moving forward. And as many of you are aware, the Inland Empire is expected to grow. I heard last year about 1.2 million residents over the next 20 years, and we know many of them will make San Bernardino their home.
San Bernardino and Highland.
And Highland. Thank you, sir.
And unincorporated areas of San Bernardino County. Where did we leave off? Over the past 10 years, our focus was on the creation of neighborhood schools. Oh, no, slide 7. While educational specifications set the vision and look and feel of our physical environment, the needs assessment defines the condition of existing facilities. It is the first step in bridging the gap between the known and unknown. The needs assessment sets priorities for repair and renovation and determines criteria for solutions so that facility planners can make sound project investments. We estimate the time spent on our needs assessment was over 7,500 hours of work. In front of me, you'll see that we brought our needs assessment with us. What a needs assessment does is it evaluates the physical condition of every one of our schools and then prioritizes them and creates an implementation schedule.
Those schedules have been included in the modernization, as well as maintenance is incorporating those schedules into their routine restricted maintenance. Of course, the need is always greater than the funding, so those needs are prioritized. This board, this district has been very aggressive in accessing state funds. In the past, it's been close to $1 billion building program that this board and district has been a part of. And the emphasis in the past building program was to get the district on a single track. It was on a multi-year track year-round. And that was accomplished by building 14 new schools, 34 new additions, and several modernization projects and other projects. As we move forward, you're going to see that there's going to be an emphasis on modernizing some of our existing schools, as that's where our state eligibility lies, while we continue to watch the impact for any future growth, and we're prepared for students to move into our district.
So as Ms. Christakos was saying, as we move forward, you'll notice the shift. You'll notice the mindset shift of moving away from new construction towards modernizing some of our aged facilities.
And then as we look at how we're going to finance this, we first examine our state funding and our eligibility for capital improvements. This looks, and Tom will go into more detail, at the age of our facilities, upgrading our code compliance. We take into consideration health and safety and other facility assessment improvements, and again, planning for that future shifts in growth. And so accessing that state funding, we have $62 million that we want to access, leverage other local dollars to put those funds into our schools.
One of the keys of our financial plan is maximizing our local funding by securing additional state dollars through the participation of the state school facility program. The state program affords districts the ability to help fund new construction projects or modernizing older campuses. Modernization eligibility requires that buildings be at least 25 years old and that student enrollment supports that need. Modernization projects are funded on a sharing basis, 60% by the state, with the remaining 40% coming from local sources. Of our eligible projects, we believe we have entitlement of $62 million in state matching funds.
This slide illustrates our projected revenue, so we look at the revenue we have on hand from a variety of sources, including our local bond, RDA, and other funds, state funds. And then we're going to go over our priority projects with you in the next couple of slides. and we identify a shortfall. And this is exacerbated by the fact that the state has been very slow to sell bonds. And so although we do have money coming, it's almost 10 years before we receive the majority of those dollars.
2029.
These are the projects that we can accomplish, that we have funds on hand, that we can move forward with. As you can see, the board wanted the artificial turf installations. In fact, we started Cajon today. Several modernizations, our new district police headquarters. You can see some CTE projects as well. I'll give you just a moment to review the list, and you can see that total projected cost of $136.2 million. If we go to the next slide, these are projects we'd like to access as well, and we're going to have our financial advisor come up and talk to you about maybe advancing some of our redevelopment dollars to borrow money until we get the state funds, and we'll refer to those as COP, Certificate of Participation. And these are the projects that we can do in addition to the first slide. There will be an economy of scale if we can do these projects at the same time, and that's up to the board. You can see, again, additional modernizations. There are grants available for full-day kindergarten. We'd still have to have the match, and we don't know how soon the state match would be available. And so you can see the additional projects on this slide.
And then before you move on, Mr. Tillman, you had a question? Or did you want to wait until you...
No, it's because on this section. So are you saying we have the 40% for these projects, the ones with the shortfall projects?
So based on the rate of state bond sales, we are having to fully fund our projects while we wait for the state to pay its portion of our entitlement.
So the projects that total $136 million, none of that money is going to come from the state's matching?
It will, but it will be a while. We have some cash already on hand that can cover all of the ones on the green slide. Because we had local bonds as well, so from our own bonds.
So let me try another way. So the ones that are in green, you're saying that we have money already?
Yes.
For bonds that we passed already, and we can make issues and get the money, right?
Yes,
so if you go to your presentation with your notes below, it highlights the revenue that we will pay for the projects in green with. So you should see 4 categories down below.
Mr. Tillman, if you could look at the one that's like this, they have the notes in the bottom, so that way you can use that as a reference. And it's page 13.
Yep.
And that includes the next 2 issuances of bonds, Mr. Tillman.
That has notes in the bottom.
Right.
So there's 4 available funding sources to fund the green project slide. You have RDA, bonds, Prop 39 funding, and state funds.
Right, so just so I'm clear, even though you have itemized state funding contribution is $43 million, are you telling me we have that or we don't have that?
The state funding will not come to us until roughly the years 2029.
And do we have the required district share, the 29 million, and the additional district share, 62 million?
Yes, sir.
We have those?
Yes, sir.
All right, but you're going to talk about this proposal to borrow that money?
To fund on the projects on the orange slide.
Which is the next
orange
page.
Orange or green?
The orange.
Orange. We already have the ones for the green.
So that's what I'm asking. So on page 13, where it says $136.2 million, projected funding breakdown is as follows, and it lists state funding of $43 million. My question is, do we have that state funding?
That's coming. We have enough because of our bond and other available resources to fund that ahead of time. And some of the state, Mr. Tillman, has come on the projects we're already working on.
So that's all I'm be clear. So just so I'm clear, so you're saying that some of it has come, but we're short some of the $43 million?
So let me take another stab at this. Go back to slide 12. Projected revenue of 136 million. You will see the breakdown comes from RDA, bond, Prop 39, and 7.9 million through their CTE grants. That is what makes up our $139 million of revenue through 2024.
Okay.
What we're highlighting on slide 13, and I apologize for the confusion, is that by building these projects, we will access $43.5 million in future state funding, which will come in years 2029. So we have revenue available to pay for projects in green. The state will eventually pay us back. If you want to think about it like your taxes, we've filed our taxes, we've showed that we're owed a refund. The government, unfortunately, does not have their obligation.
No, I understand that.
His
the only thing-
question is the state funds, do we have the state match for these funds?
Yeah, just so I'm clear. So what you're saying is we have the RDA money, we have the bond money, we have the Prop 39 money, and we have these specific state funds already, the $7.9 million.
Between now and 2024, yes.
And that totals 136 million. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
All right, where do we leave off?
We're on this slide right
Gotcha.
here, the orange slide, and they were reviewing the projects.
Yes.
We will talk with you and shortly about advancing some redevelopment dollars so we can do these projects alongside the projects we showed you on the green slide.
And so of these qualifying projects, they will eventually generate $18 million of state funding. These projects will modernize older campuses, create specialized learning environments for our career pathways, and further the visual and performing arts at one of our district's oldest campuses. Although we have spent time discussing our short-term need, our master plan also viewed long-term considerations for future spending. Items include enhanced science labs and the creation of middle school gymnasiums. A successful financial plan needs to address both the short-term and long-term need of the district. This 20-year cash flow analysis identifies available funding by revenue source against projected expenditures, depicted by the green line. You will notice the identified shortfall to your left that we discussed earlier, and you will also notice the impact of state bond sales on our long-term revenue, circled to your right. One of the contributing factors to the identified shortfall is the lack of current state bond sales.
And even with the state, the governor has shown he wants to advance sell bonds and move the sales forward. We do have quite a backlog of a wait at the state level. So we have Mr. Jason Chung here. He's the Vice President of Fieldman and Roll-Up. You know, his colleague, Adam Bowery, could not be here this evening. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jason to talk about the revenues available for capital facility projects and advancing some funds.
Good evening, members of the board. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'll be going over the main financing sources, notably the general obligation bond issuances, state funding, and the successor agency revenues. So beginning on slide 18, we show providing the projected revenues from these three sources totaling $180 million over the next 10 years through year 2029.
Just to clarify on the page, on our page, I believe it's 18. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
Yes,
Is
we
that what
just
you said?
advanced it. Yes,
Okay.
sorry, we were behind.
On the page with the notes. The long, right, the one in portrait.
You're
Great.
there.
So slide 18 showing the three main funding buckets. And as you recall, voters in the district approved Measure N back in November 2012. Measure N approved a not to exceed amount of $250 million in general obligation bonds to be issued. And to this point, at this point, 4 series of bonds have been issued for $128 million. And currently there remains a balance of $120 million. And this $120 million is still authorized, but it just is yet to be unissued. And the main constraint from the district issuing these bonds is its Prop 39 tax rate. As you recall, the district has a legal tax rate of $60 per 100,000, but its projected tax rate limit is only $55 per 100,000. And so GO bonds are really governed by their assessed value of future growth. And for the whole Measure N campaign, we've assumed a 4% growth in assessed value. That is basically projecting all of the taxable value within the district increases by 4% per year, which is very conservative. When you look at the district's 30-year history, it's 5.03%. And over the past 5 years, it's hovered around 6 to 7% each year. So when you have that compounding of growth of 6 to 7% over and over again, when the district has been projecting a 4%, that lowers the future projected tax rate and increases capacity for additional bonds. So currently, the projection is $44 million in additional GO bond funding through 2029, and that's through two future series. But again, as assessed value continues to outperform our 4% projection, that $44 million will continue to grow higher. On bullet point 2, the district, as Tom had mentioned, the district expects to receive about $62 million in state funding through 2029, and that breakdown is provided in page 59 of your large booklet.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because it's just been my experience that it's boom and bust. I know you say that, you know, it's exceeding the projections, but at some point it's going to tank again. So if it does tank before we get to this 2029, what's the risk to the district?
The risk, the general obligation bonds, the reason they're so safe is that they are ultimately repaid by whatever rate the county assessor needs to levy it at. So it's our job as your financial advisor to make projections that are conservative, but yet still capture the growth in the assessed value. So and it is expected, we've been in a very long expansionary period, it is expected to have a recession, but I think it's fair to say that a recession to the magnitude of what happened in 2009, 2010 would be pretty small. Of course, recession does result in lower taxable growth in the future, but there are, as Ms. Christakos had mentioned, a lot of development going on in the area. There is expected to be a lot of new families coming in, and that all leads to continued AV growth.
You're not answering my question, though.
I think he's referring to the RDA, so the risk with leveraging RDA or the successor agency.
Right. So what happens if we don't get?
The RDAs are, it's similar tied to AV, where it's tied to the overall economic growth of the district. And the RDA revenues that we are showing are based on the most conservative assumption by the third-party provider, Public Economics.
I guess let me ask a different way. Is there any exposure to the district's general fund if this scenario doesn't pan out? Is there something that can happen where you say, what's your name?
Jason.
Jason was wrong, and it came in a lot lower than we thought. So now the money will have to come out of the general fund. Is there ever a possibility that's going to happen?
The COP financing is legally backed by the general fund. So yes, in the worst events of cases, in an apocalyptic scenario, there will be the chance that the general fund will be a target.
You just called it apocalyptic because you're under 50. People that live through it, it's not so much apocalyptic, it just happens.
Mr. Tillman, can I make a comment? So we do have a lot of healthy successor agency revenues through the RDA, these taxing agencies, and they are expected to retire in 26 years.
So
and they're set by law.
And that's the revenue we're dependent on.
That's right. And it's set in law that those revenues will continue to come in until that sunset date.
And it has nothing to do with the value of property.
It does have some AV. It is based on AV, and Jason can correct me if I'm wrong. I spent some time talking to our economists, but we use very, very conservative projections. And what we're asking the board to consider is only 75% of the projected future revenues, so that we are very cautious that should there be a downturn, we would still have enough money. And we also propose setting 2.5 to 3 years of payments set aside for any such case.
And how much money are we talking about a year?
That we receive?
Right.
We receive between 2.5 and 5 million a year.
It grows annually over time. Currently, we're in the $2 to $3 million range. In years 2029, it's roughly 5 to 7 million a year, but it fluctuates.
All right. I have to be clear because I'm going to be the only board member still on the board at that time.
In 10 years?
All right,
I'm
thank you,
just
Mr.
playing.
Tillman. Yes, and then Dr. Flores.
So this is another question. This is based on the release of matching money from the state also, right? I mean, it could accelerate given the governor's leadership. Right now, it's coming in slowly. However, if he recommends that we release more money to districts, then we would be receiving more money, correct?
So we have worked with our funding specialists. So yes, the long answer is yes. However,
Yes.
the backlog at the state is deep enough for projects that we are on the tail end of the receiving portion of Prop 51. So although the governor can speed up, and we're appreciative of his efforts to speed up bond sales, we are still years out from receiving our Prop 51 obligations.
So we're still a year out?
Years out.
Oh, years.
Years out.
Years, okay. All
And
right.
one thing that we will bring back to the board in 10 years is, and we'll remember all of this, but at that time, when the state releases the funds, because we're getting quite a bit of money at that time, we could pay off the COPs. They're putting a provision in for paying it off in 10 years, or we could continue to use those dollars to leverage state funds. As you know, our need is much greater than the funds we have on hand. And so that's something that we've asked them to build into the financing, that we could pay it off in 10 years if we needed to.
Okay, and if you could proceed, please.
And if I may, to get, if I can mention to Danny Tillman, RDA funding that we anticipate receiving is on page 59 of your board book. It's the column in pink. You'll
And
see
it's 75%, Mr. Tillman.
Page 59 of your board book. That's showing a 75% of our anticipated revenue of RDA. It's the column in pink on the left-hand side.
All right, thank you.
And finishing up on slide 18, the final bullet, district expects to receive approximately $74 million in RDA funding by 2029. That is not a one-time receipt. That's actually a combined increasing annual revenues equaling that $74 million by 2029. On slide 19, we go into more detail on focusing on applying these successor agency revenues for upfront dollars for project costs. So the $74.3 million in anticipated revenue, that is again projected to be spread out over a number of years. And the district has looked at a scenario of using these expected revenues to finance a COP or certificate of participation to fund $65 million, which is the priority funding shortfall that Mrs. Christakos had mentioned earlier. And a COP or a certificate of participation is a similar financing vehicle to a GEO-bond in that it provides upfront payments through a repayment source, but the main repayment source is not ad valorem taxpayer dollars. The COP's repayment source is the RDA revenues. So, and similar to the GEO-bond process, the district will have to seek a credit rating. We will have to seek a board approval from you at a later date. We will also have to lock in interest rates on the market, which is very currently low at this time. And the district has also been very conservative in structuring these COPs. Based on the expected RDA revenue stream, much more than $65 million to be generated, but we're only looking at financing what we need to do too right now. So the $65 million COP would have what's called a debt service coverage of 150%. And so a 150% debt service coverage means that each year the district will have RDA revenues equal to at least 150% of the required principal and interest payments each year. And so that 50% excess coverage is really an extra layer of protection. And when that 50% is not used at the end of each year, the district will receive that in surplus revenues. And so that leads into the final bullet point. District, this $24 million is the sum of that expected annual surplus each year.
Okay, Mr. Tillman?
Just, I don't know what they're called, but a while ago we did some financing, but it was real crazy where, we're not doing any of those?
That was
They're not
sorry.
available.
That QSCB stands for Qualified School Construction Bond, and that is a form of a certificate of participation, but that was only an allowed financing vehicle during that time. under President Obama's American Reinvestment and Recovery Act. That was known as a federal tax subsidized bond, where basically the district received an interest-free loan on funding that COP. And actually Measure N, a portion of those proceeds are used to fully repay that QSCB. So it's the district's general fund is not taking a hit for that.
My only question is, so we're not doing those or anything like that?
We are not.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In summary, our master plan sets high standards for the creation of 21st century learning environments, addresses the potential of residential growth and demographic shifts within district boundaries, reduces the impacts from aging infrastructure, and creates a financial plan that maximizes the district's investment in students. Recommendations and solutions. As we move forward, we need to address our residential growth, localized residential growth, advance priority projects, close the funding gap to mitigate cash flow by leveraging future RDA funds, and evaluate and prioritize future identified need.
And board, before we go into our next steps, this may be an opportunity for our board subcommittee. We had Ms. Abigail Medina Rosales as part of the committee. We had Dr. Scott Wyatt and Mr. Mike Gallo. And then Ms. Rogers also was an alternative in the event that anyone couldn't make the subcommittee. If there's anything you want to comment on before we go into next steps.
Yes, and I actually had notes, but because of my computer, it did not download effectively, but I know there was several items on there. Thank you. And it's just a feedback quickly on, for instance, the facilities subcommittee met on 3 different occasions. Number 1, October 23rd, 2018. November, I got it. Thank you. Yes. November 26, 2018, January 14, 2019. Also part of the discussions that we had were the following. One was, of course, the master plan objectives, components of the master plan, facility funding overview, needs assessment, as was discussed today, board input on district facilities, residential growth studies and projections, educational specifications, cash flow analysis, short and long-term facility objectives, current projects, as well as review of individual master plans. Participants of these discussions included the following individuals, groups, which is the district financial advisors, 2 district master planning architect, chief business official, administrator of operations, and director of facilities. So those were our part of the discussions that we had during the subcommittee meeting. Yes. Yes, Mr. Tillman. Hold on.
And Mike, one.
So then if we can, but are we done with this piece? Because I think they were still, and then we're going to go ahead now.
You wanted the subcommittee members to...
Yes, to comment, please. Yes.
Yeah.
And then so other committees.
Scott and I'm sure Scott's got a couple
And
of
then
comments
Gwen
too.
is also part of, she's the alternate.
One of the comments that I'd like to focus on is you see that stack of books that's in front of Tom there. We got the chance to go through all of the analysis and data and prioritization and assessments that were done on each and every one of our school facilities, and it's a massive amount of work. They engage the site administrators, their site councils, the school staff, et cetera, to prioritize those projects, first identify the projects, kind of drive them to ground and provide pricing, costs, estimates, and right down to every single element of improvement that they proposed, and then prioritize based on the needs of the individual school facilities. So the amount of work that was done on this was tremendous, and I really got to commend you guys for it. This is probably the most comprehensive facilities assessment plan I've seen since I was back in the military. And it is a fabulous job that you guys did on this. And then I like the way that you went through a prioritization of these projects based on, those funds that you could garner some state support for, some matching fund dollars, some, grant dollars, et cetera. Kind of figuring out how we're going to fund some of this stuff. And we could exercise certain state funding to support those elements. And that was included in the prioritization of these, the green, orange, and blue programs that you see identified on the chart. So I really got to commend you guys for the amount of work that you've done. It is a ton of work that goes behind each one of these, and just to be able to pull up the data as succinctly as you did in this presentation is an accomplishment.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. Dr. Scott White, do you have any comments?
Absolutely, and I'll try to be brief, but to piggyback off what Mr. Gallo was saying in regards to that needs assessment, I've been fortunate to be a part of strategic planning at a district level and do needs assessments, and it was nowhere near the amount or the detail that was given into this plan. And I think one of my main concerns when we look at this is, making sure we keep our eye on the long-term vision and ensuring that we get to that point. Because right now I think it's easy to get caught up on and saying, wow, there's a shortfall right there. But, when we look beyond and let's make sure it's 2029 to secure the funding and make sure that it's going to be there in the future, then I think that's something we have to focus on in regards to the financial security and our investment in our schools. In regards to the planning behind it and the designs and the architectural designs, all I can say is, wow, they're absolutely amazing. And I wish everybody had the opportunity to see the renderings that we have of our schools and the plan behind it. And, it gets me excited as a board member and definitely as a community member in the city. You've heard me say this often, that the school district will really lead the way of change and transformation in this city. And it's a huge investment in our kids and our community. So I'll be honest, I've been very fortunate to be a part of this team. And Mr. Pace, thank you for bringing us on board for this and having the board be a part of the decision-making process. And again, all the stakeholders that were involved throughout the district, and especially our parents and our students who are an active voice, and they're the ones that are in our schools. And I can only imagine the excitement for them when they get to go to these schools in the future and say, wow, look at where I'm going to school. And I know our plan is to create destination schools. We have a number of those already, but we want them to be schools of choice throughout the district, regardless of where you live, to have the opportunity to go to a beautiful, modernized school that shows we're investing in our children. So thank you for the plan.
Thank you, Dr. Scott Wyatt. Okay, so then with that, I think we're done with so we can start with the board questions or comments. Mr. Tillman, if we can start on your end and then move down towards Dr. White.
And all the board can't be part of the committee, so I understand how that works. But my question, in the district right now, at the middle school and high school level, we don't have showers that work anymore? Is that the case? If it's not, you can get us the information, but.
No, I know that we have showers at the high school. I don't know if they're utilized or to what extent.
I've been told we don't have showers at middle schools, and I don't know about the high school level, but I heard we don't have showers at middle schools and some of the high schools. But to me, that's a big deal. I mean, when I went to middle school, we had showers, and with a lot of our student populations, I think showers would be a big deal at the site. So I would just like to hear what the status of the showers are and what it would cost to, of course, the board would have to agree that that's a priority for us, that we think that we want to have showers at our middle schools and high schools that are operational. For me, it is, and it'd be good to know, do we have it and what it would cost to get them to work? Because that's part of the prioritization. And to me, that's more important than some of the items that I see on here. So I don't know what the cost is.
I guess it just depends on how it would be accessed. If it's more of privacy issues, I just don't want liability issues happening.
You didn't have showers when you went to school?
No, I didn't. I never experienced. So I didn't in middle
Well,
school.
maybe they don't anymore.
So I don't know. I mean, I would understand maybe for individuals who don't have access to showers. I mean, that would make sense. So then that would make sense, but I don't know how it would be for maybe individual stalls. I don't know how that would look like. I know that's something maybe further discussion.
We had a boys gym.
Yeah, okay.
In the girls' gym, and Gwen pretends like she a lot younger than me, but
So there was, I mean.
Didn't you go to Airview, Gwen? No, they had them. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But did you use them?
Well, it'd be good to know that too. If they did take them out for liability, do some schools still have them? I think our district is a district that could benefit from having.
But when it comes
showers.
to individuals that don't have opportunity to shower at home, that makes sense.
Big deal.
That would make sense. Maybe
Yes.
having private stalls for those, yes, of course.
Sure.
Okay, but thank you, Mr. Tillman. Mr. Gallo? Ms. Rogers?
I don't know, did they, Danny, when you went to school?
We had showers.
I know.
Yeah. No, I didn't
Danny
like
never used
No,
them.
they did.
but,
I do know they did. I do know
I
they
didn't
did.
use them a lot because
You-
they had
you're
these guys that
older
would do the towels like this.
Really?
I can still see them
I see
doing
them
right
in
now.
movies, but I haven't.
No, they did. They
No, it
did.
wasn't
they
me.
Did. They did.
I've seen it in movies.
Okay, let's bring it back. Right, because they stopped the year he graduated. I just had a question, and I did get a chance to sit on as an alternate when Mike decided to be the Bionic Man, and I took over for a couple of meetings. But question on, so following on the orange and the green, and Mr. Tillman kind of touched on it a little bit. So when I was looking at, for example, full day kinder, so between the orange and the green, we're not saying that there's not funding for that via the state, but only because we didn't prioritize it into the green, or is it the opposite of what I said?
So quickly to touch on full day kinder, it's a new program that the state released in the last few months.
Right.
We had not worked it into the original plan.
Okay.
It is something that has come up in the previous few months. Knowing that it's
okay.
important and
Right.
knowing that early child care is an initiative through the district,
Yeah.
we wanted to prioritize it and
And that's
label
kind-
it and show it.
Okay, and that's your answer to my question, because I mean, since then, I know this has been a work in progress, but when I look, and then when I see modernization, that to me just goes to the top of the list versus something that is not a modernization or something that's not full day kinder, because our schools are older. We have some older schools, small things, and kids are bigger these days and whatnot. So are we, at this point, is there leeway as we're having discussion to move something if it falls within the dollar amount? Are we looking at that flexibility in the conversation?
So you, are you talking about moving between the blue and the orange?
The green and the orange,
And
not the
so-
blue.
Okay.
Because if I was talking about the blue, you know what I'd ask
I know.
for.
So if you choose to have us move forward with the financing, we can do all the orange and all the green.
All the, yeah, right, with the financing.
Yes.
If we went forward with that, but if we did not.
If we did
Is what you're
not,
saying is, this green has been said that these are the main priorities right
that
now?
have been prioritized through a number of ways, but we can look at
But there could be-
reprioritizing.
There could be flexibility if we said we weren't gonna go with plan number 2, and for example, we now know that full day kinder or something like that is now at the top of the list of concerns as we grow.
Can I add something about the kinder? We're going to apply for the grants.
Okay.
And so we think we have a really good chance of getting those grants.
Okay.
But you still have to be approved.
So
Okay.
part of the reason that full day kinder lands in the orange is the funding provided for the full day kinder barely scratches the surface of what would need to be required to provide the spaces under the grant agreement. Additionally, they're providing only $70 million in the next funding window for the entire state. As we apply, it is a competitive grant.
So,
The chances of us getting
I think we will.
qualifying are good, but we are still betting on the future.
so are you saying that in this number that's here is even greater than what's here? Is that what you just
No,
said?
what I'm saying is the state has only set aside $70 million
Okay.
for the
And
whole
you would
state
be
in the next
applying-
funding window, and we're applying.
We would be one
However,
of the many.
one of many people applying for it.
Okay.
Our free and reduced lunch rate, amongst other factors, will most likely guarantee us at least a spot at the table, which is why we have the amount shown here.
Okay, but there is flexibility between green and orange first before blue, and I think that was my question.
And then The governor's proposing even more funds in the budget, so we'll see how that comes out for early ed, including
And we would
TK
know that
kinder-
when?
June, or
June.
July, when it's
July.
adopted, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Hill?
Thank you, Madam President. To both of you, thanks so much in your committee, and apparently you had good representation from the board. I appreciate hearing the plan, and I like the long-term projection. I just jotted down a couple of questions that I was able to wait until the end to mention. Nothing personal, Mr. Tillman. Number one, on ADA compliance. I looked through that in the project, so we're okay there. We don't have to worry about that type of a lawsuit. And maybe you don't have to answer it, Tom. It's just as long as you take a look at it. I think that's what's important.
It is one of the highest priorities as we look at projects is ADA access.
Okay,
It is a requirement of the state. When we touch something on campus, we are required to ensure that it meets ADA compliance.
All right, great. So that's nothing we have to worry about. I am concerned about the lights also in the modernization. I do hear from parents about, and community members about the lights, especially at the high schools where there are activities going. So as long as that's included in the modernization. Now, as you plan for you're planning for the growth in the area, are we going to ever reconsider portables, or are we going to have a standard facility?
So I'm going to go back to your lights and then I'll answer
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
because I have some good news for you.
Thank you.
This past Monday, we started the replacement of every light fixture at the high school level, starting at Cajon High School.
Wonderful.
By the end of this summer, every high school light will have been replaced with LED lighting.
Wonderful.
So, yes, that is a concern and priority of ours.
Thank
And,
you so much.
that is in the green section.
Okay,
As
great.
far as residential growth and mitigation of residential growth, our department believes firmly that we should teach in brick and mortar rather than in portables.
Good, thank you. That's my thinking. Now, I know on the east side of Walmart and Highland, there's a big area of land, and I think San Bernardino and Highland might still be fighting over that. It belongs to San Bernardino, so I'm hoping we are smart enough to keep it, because I think there's an opportunity for about 1,000 houses in that area, which will certainly have an impact at some point on our high school. So we have San Gorgonio there, but are you looking at land or anything if there's a need to build an additional high school on the east side of town?
As part of our residential growth studies, we evaluated all options to mitigate residential growth. At the current time, we don't feel there's a need to purchase land for additional schools.
Okay, so you don't need to take a look at anything for a high school?
In the short term, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Within the next 20 years, there could be a possibility depending on potential residential growth.
All right, and my last question is on the redevelopment funds from the city. I know when Governor Brown asked that all the redevelopment money be turned in, I know that this school district was due either $2 or $3 million. Did we get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good news. You gave me a lot of good news tonight, Tom. I might have to send you some flowers. Thank you.
I'll send them your way, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Dr. Flores?
Yes, I really want to thank you and the committee. This is superb. This is really incredible. I don't think, well, Danny and I were on the board when we built the 14 schools, and so we had a very strategic plan, and I'm glad that we focused on developing this plan, because if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. And so it just, you know, and I recognize all the time and the effort, and also visually how you've presented it as well. It really is helpful, And I am very much in favor of the certificate of, what do you call it, participation, because we've participated in that, and it seems that the risk is low for us to support that in the long term. And just going back to Mrs. Rogers' comment on full-day kinder, it's real important. I know we have a track record, Dr. Marsden. We have a track record of full day, of extended day, full day kindergarten. So I think that would be very much in our favor in terms of having that and applying for that grant. And the second question is, since we will be applying for grants, even though we have a master plan, and if we see a need down the road, we are going to be flexible. Hopefully that we can write other grants, like Dr. Hill said, what if, we need additional space for certain things? What if our pathways grow, and we need that additional space? There is opportunity, correct, to apply for different grants?
Yes, ma'am. I would say that our master plan is not binary thinking. It's directional thinking. Allows for creativity, allows for flexibility, so that as priorities change and as we update on an annual basis,
As
we go along, we know that priorities are going to shift. So
And-
we've tried to build in flexibility within the plan to address future need.
Right, because I did read this whole report. It was really, really incredible. And I saw that Arroyo principal was not there. It was Ken Martinez at the time, and we now have a new principal. So I'm just wondering, I didn't have privy to those books. I hope that you do interview, or have you interviewed Mr. Valenzuela in terms of their specific needs?
So I've met with him on various occasions to talk about the need of their campus. I can tell you that long-term, Arroyo Valley is eligible for modernization funding in 2028.
Okay.
So we have a long-term view of all of our campuses, including ones that are on the newer end.
Even though they're not here?
Correct.
Even though, okay, great. Because I know it's really important. And I just want to say to the public, I mean, we invested so much money in the building of new buildings and the modernization. And it's concrete, and it shows how we value our community and our kids to have clean, beautiful, and I mean beautiful buildings that accommodate, our families and our kids. It's so important, and that speaks so highly, I think, of our district and for our community, because not only are they beautiful, they're also we're working towards having them be, centers of the community and also safe havens for our kids and our families. So I really thank you. It's tremendous work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Flores. Dr. White?
No further comments.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. All right,
Other than I
thank-
wish we had more money for all our schools. How's
Yeah.
that?
Well, thank you for the presentation. I would like to consider, as Mr. Tillman said, but this one's more on the needs basis for those that might be homeless or so forth that need to have showers as an option, so we can
Can
look at
we
that.
just quickly go to the next step slide, and I'll wrap it up really quickly?
Oh, I thought we were done.
Oh,
Okay.
we're almost there.
Okay.
So for the next board meeting, if we have consensus, we'd like to bring forward the adoption of the master plan and educational specifications. Of course, we have the copies of these reports in Mr. Pace's office for anyone that wasn't on the committee that wants to delve into them. We'd like your consideration of the facility financing plan, which would come to the next board meeting. And then Mr. Pace would create an implementation schedule for priority projects and share that with the board. And we'd continue to keep you updated annually with changes in eligibility and so forth.
Okay, great. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, your hard work.
Thank you, Ms. Christakos and Tom Pace.
We do have
appreciate
a
that.
public comment.
We do have a public comment at this point. So, board, if you don't have any further questions of staff, what we'll do is entertain the public comment. And then if you have further questions with staff, we'll go forward. There's no vote taken tonight on this item. Board welcomes Jason Kunas, Charles Tetlock, and Nancy Sanchez Spears. Welcome. Good evening.
And thank you for your patience.
Yeah, thank you very much for your patience.
Good evening. So the topic of facilities, as we just heard, very lengthy. One of the future things that's on it is middle school gymnasiums. And so I've reached out amongst my colleagues here today, as well as other middle school teachers, high school teachers, and even elementary. And we all feel that there is a high priority. And the high priority is, as you know, we can believe or not believe about climate change. And it is hot, you know, for numerous days out of the year. And then this year we've had a rainy season, and we can consider that abnormal or not abnormal. However, we do get the inclement weather, and the district does tell us that we have to either modify activity. It's either going to be mild to moderate, it could be moderate to vigorous, or no vigorous activity at all. So a school like that I am at is Rodriguez Prep, which is 11 years old. I know it wasn't built as a middle school intentionally, but it does lack facilities. We have a portable locker room. We have no gymnasium. We don't have even facilities that other older schools have. So we're not even in the same playing field with, say, Rialto Unified or Redlands Unified or Colton that do have gymnasiums. And so we're seeing a rise in obesity as well. And so we're talking about lifelong fitness that these kids need to be exposed to. We have also a sports program that, you know, does have some access to some gymnasiums at some schools. Saying that, example, when Curtis was rebuilt, they did build a gymnasium when it never had one. And it's not on the same playing field, I guess you could say, with all the middle schools here in San Bernardino. So I'm going to turn it over at this time to Mr. Tetlock, who's also involved with the athletics, to speak about that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
After watching the financial thing, I'm happy I only have to handle my checkbook. That's number one. Good luck. And I know you guys will do a good job on that. I'm on the athletic strategic plan with Dr. Volkemer, so I want to plug this real quick. I would like to thank you for giving the funding to us. You can see it's very nice to see through the district, the high schools, that things are happening. In fact, I shouldn't say just high schools, it's K through 12. Athletics are getting a big step up. It's nice to drive around Southern California and see high schools that have very nice facilities, and now being able to come back to San Bernardino and starting to see these things happening. So thank you for that. But one of the mottos for this athletic strategic plan is world class, and we are slowly getting there. And one of the things is getting facilities at the middle school level that we can have for sports, but even more importantly for physical education, with a good portion of our school year either in the heat or fending off weather. A lot of our indoor facilities are classrooms that handle 35, 36 students, and we're taking 40 to 50 inside a classroom trying to get something done PE-wise. And of course, everybody makes it happen, but we would like to get the facilities that are befitting, we should have for our classrooms for PE on rainy days, and a PE gymnasium, sports gymnasium would also go a long ways in helping that. If we have the right kind of vision and money, of course, we could get a gymnasium with extra classrooms and a fitness room and a weight room and things like that. So we'd like to keep going and thinking world class and hopefully making that happen someday and someday soon. I would like to thank Mr. Pace and his committee for putting middle school gyms and facilities on their report here. That was fantastic to see. And I know that it'll slowly start getting going. And of course, the best answer would be to have all this stuff yesterday, but I'm just glad that it's going to be brought up, and I know it'll eventually get done. So thanks for your time and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am glad that it's on the list. My displeasure is that there's no date. It's like someday, maybe, someday, maybe. I've been here 36 years, and someday maybe was 36 years ago. So I find it very, very disheartening that it's not a priority. If you consider just the heat of August, September, and October, we have students who are out there risking their lives in the heat because there's no place to go. If they go into a place where there's shade, they're very fortunate. Not all schools have enough shade for the students to be in. We're risking skin cancer. We're risking heat stroke. Just being there, they don't even have to be active, just being out in the sun can create those kind of hazards for their bodies. And then we have, with the heat, we have the pollution. So students who are sensitive, and we are having more and more students in San Bernardino who are sensitive to the air and the pollution, they're also aggravated. So we are creating a very, very unhealthy situation for our children in the courses that are supposed to be helping their health. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments, and this is very important for us to hear. And so it's, Ms. Rogers just asked me right before you did. So the thing is that this is really important for all of us, and just to hear you, all three of you come up is very important, so thank you for bringing this up. And then Ms. Rogers, and then from there, Ms. Dr. Flores.
So I just want to, I tried hard to stay out of the blue, but the blue is where those gymnasiums are at. And I brought it up before, and I do honestly feel that it is a priority. And when it first came to me, it came to me via student, and what better advocate, what better person experiencing it. And it's a different weather condition than where we were a long time ago. And I would like to see, and that was one of the reasons why when I'm looking at the orange and the blue and the colors and the priorities of everything, but I really would like to see because this is coming back to us, I would like to see it if we prioritize and move something else around and put the gymnasiums in there. I would hope, I don't know if I'll be on the board 36 years from now, but I don't want to have that be the legacy of that it took another 36 years. And so I would like to see that if the board is in agreement when we bring it back, let us see what could be moved around possibly is just as equally as important as all the other things, but that is modernization, and that is really bringing us to a modernization. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Dr. Flores, and then from Dr. Flores, I think you still had comments.
I thought she might have a question, so
Okay.
I was going to answer it if necessary.
It's a clarification, and it follows up with what Ms. Rogers said. And just to clarify, you guys are asking us to relook at the priorities and prioritize gymnasiums given the climate changes and the inclement weather that we have now. Is that correct?
Correct, and just to be on the same, facility-wise as all schools should be equal. So, example, I know some schools may have a little fitness room right now. So I could give you an example like Serrano. They have to share it, so you might have 3 teachers in the Great Hall while one's in a fitness room. So what kids are really being active, and that's the whole idea. We want our kids active and getting in a habit of, a healthy lifestyle daily.
So I might understand that in the meantime, say we do reprioritize and focus on gymnasiums, there's also a need in the interim to provide spaces, right?
Correct.
A space, a facility or something so that will accommodate in terms of physical education.
Right, because you may have some situations where some schools, the kids are in the locker room and
Right.
they're not doing anything even minimal activity.
So this would be for middle schools? Because
Correct.
I think we have gymnasiums in all the high schools, correct?
Correct.
Yes, so you're addressing middle school needs.
Right,
Okay,
because we
all
have
right.
3 middle schools with
Okay.
gymnasiums out of
Well,
11.
I would be, Ms. Rogers, I support your recommendation for our staff to go and look to see what the priority, if we could prioritize or what we could as well to look at that. Because I know it is an issue because parents and kids have said, you know, it's so hot. How come we have to go out there? It's 108. It's 100 and not 8, but you know, 104, 103, et cetera. So I thank you
including
for
the
coming.
blacktop.
Yeah, it feels like that. Yeah, thank you for coming and for you know, bringing it to our attention.
Thank you for your time.
All right, and Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you, Madam President. And then to go along with, you know, the request from our folks from our middle schools, this question will be for you, Janie, in regards to our blue category, as Ms. Rogers is calling it. We have a, you know, future master plan consideration for our middle school gymnasiums of $30 million. And so would that be able to pay for the 8 middle schools that do not have gymnasiums? Is that taken into consideration? I'm just wondering, is that the figure we're looking at?
There's no state funding for these middle school gymnasiums. Mr. Pace can better answer, but he did look at some alternatives because they can be quite expensive, and there's some really nice modular gymnasiums that they're very, very nice. But I believe that's what you priced, isn't it, Mr. Pace?
Yes, ma'am. Part of the consideration of the master plan is looking at leveraging local dollars. Unfortunately, adding square footage does not qualify under the modernization program. We currently do not have any available state funding for middle school gymnasiums. We recognize the need. We're willing to look at priorities from the board as we serve at the board's direction, but understand as we remove projects that qualify for state funding, we may be replacing them with projects that do not.
And one consideration moving forward is future bond sales. So that's when the district can look at very specific areas that they may want to fund through future bond sales. And so we'd have to talk with our financial advisors on when additional dollars would be available after our next bond issuances.
All right, thank you
Okay,
so
and,
much.
I have a question.
Wait, hold on,
Wait.
Dr. Wyatt still, and then Dr. Flores, Mr. Gallo will.
Well, and this just kind of piggybacks off what Mr. Tillman was saying earlier. You know, I just think about when I went to middle school, and I know we had a gymnasium and we had showers, and there's probably guys out like, you know, that were snapping the towels, Danny, that didn't use the showers. But anyway, so I think it's a priority to me as well. And then I see another area in the blue, which is our multi-use rooms, and I'm wondering, is there any way we can combine the two? I don't know, you know, if we could use multi-use rooms as gymnasiums, if there's a configuration for that to help us save money, because between the two, we're looking at $75 million. It's a lot of money, so I'm just wondering, is there plans out there that maybe we can do both at the same time?
So the multi-use rooms listed under the blue category primarily fall on elementary school.
Elementary schools.
We have some very old MU rooms that need additional love as well.
Gotcha. And I just happened to be researching this last week, and so I always get excited thinking about our middle schools. And of course, I told Dr. Perez I wouldn't bring it up, but sheds, I'll just say that. And I came up on a website, and it's called Prefast. I don't know if you've seen that. I'm sure you have, Tom, because you're up to speed on everything. But I
We
thought
actually have several pre-fast buildings within the district.
I'll have to go see them.
Middle college is one of them.
Oh, fantastic. And are those cost effective?
Little Mountain. In the end, they were not for us.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you.
All right, then, Mr. Gallo?
Yeah, just for clarification, Tom, you priced in as part of the $30 million this kind of alternative modularized type gymnasium, right?
We gave a broad range, but yes, it factors in that.
So that's about the lowest cost you think you're going to be able to
Yes, sir.
do these for. And they do not qualify for any state match.
Currently, no, sir.
And so if you were to pull something off of the green or orange, you could be leaving dollars on the table for matching funds in favor of something that you'd be actually paying for completely ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, then Dr. Flores, and then Mr. Tillman.
Okay. What I think I heard is that in the meantime, you know, they also need facilities to accommodate our kids. So I wonder if we could price or see what it would cost, you know, to see if they could have places where they could, you know, get out of the heat, out of the rain, so that they could, you know, do the physical ed. Because long range would be, you know, like Janie said, you know, bonds and so forth, you know, to look forward in terms of gymnasiums. But in the interim, I'm hearing that our kids need spaces where they can be safe from the heat and the rain, so that they can, you know, do their physical ed. So I would recommend that you look into that to see what is available or what can and how much it costs. Yeah.
I would say that each one of our facilities is created unequal.
Yes, I know.
And that we ought to prioritize our middle school needs from worst
to okay, yeah.
moving up, and that as we evaluate our revenue on a yearly basis, that
we could look at that.
That we
okay.
can look at that priority list and work at working them into our current workload. Okay. But yes, we can and will look at what we can do at each site, and we can meet with the sites individually.
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
All right, and Mr. Tillman.
Yeah, I think I have a solution. I mean, and I understand what the concern is. The blue stuff are items that you don't get matching funds for the most part, right?
I would say that in any master plan, your need exceeds your ability to pay for your need.
That's not the question I'm asking though. It sounds like you think you can maximize the dollars by getting matching state funds.
Yes, sir.
And for middle school gymnasiums, you can't not get matching state funds.
Correct.
So it's total cost from the district. So I think the good thing about something like a gymnasium is a one-time cost. So I think what we should do is we should tell Ms. Christakis she can give us her projected ending balance at the beginning of the budget process, and whatever's over and above that, when we close out the books, then they have to give us $10 million of one-time money out of that. And that would work. That'd be your fix. Yeah. Well, you could, and I mean, you can go higher than that, but at least, like, I don't know, I think this year's projected ending balance was, at the beginning of the year, was $65 million. So if we get unrestricted ending balance, $10 to $20 million higher than that, we could take $10 million and put it towards building the schools, the gyms.
Well, your suggestion made me think of another good idea, and that could include some of the redevelopment that we're not leveraging as we set some of those dollars aside, because you'll recall we're setting aside 75%. Some we want to put aside for restricted maintenance needs as part of this needs assessment. So we could prioritize, we can bring the list of facilities, the ones with the greatest needs, and start to go through those middle school gymnasiums and look at some of the redevelopment dollars that are meant for facilities.
But you don't want to do anything with the identified ending balance over and above what you projected. That's what I thought. But it is something we can consider. It is something we can consider because a portion of that money is unallocated and unrestricted. So you could use some of that money to do that. We actually, that's actually how part of the funding for Royal Valley came from ending balance money when we built Royal Valley, like $20 million. So there is money that can be realized at some point.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Madam President,
yes.
Is this, no, I know this has been a pretty robust conversation. We'll have to look at our action items later. Is it, and I was talking with Dr. Flores right now on sidebar because of Danny. Is this something we want to agendize and literally move up to a top 10 item?
So they will be bringing back the recommendations on what we can look at, and so that would be something that Janie and the whole department will look at, and especially since she mentioned another option.
Okay.
And then looking into what Mr. Tillman mentioned as well. So
All
that
right.
way we can look at middle school gymnasium as one of the top priorities for the district.
Thank you,
Extra
Madam
funding.
President. And
All right.
hopefully
thank
that's
you.
good news to our middle school folks
Yes.
that showed up tonight. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I
Thank
guess
you,
that's
Mr.
it for the
Stakos.
presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Pace and
Thank
team.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, great job, great job. And also thank you to our coaches, the people that work in the sports department, so thank you. 9.0, reports and comments. 9.1, reports by San Bernardino Teachers Association.
No comment.
Okay, 9.2, report by California School Employees Association. We have Carl Greenwood. Is he here present?
No comment.
Okay. I see him moving
Oh,
forward.
I
so see him.
apologize. He is here. Very good. Didn't see him hiding. Come on in.
Good evening, board members. Tonight,
evening.
I've asked Carl if I could speak to you on a subject that I hold close to my heart, which is our custodial staff. And I have a large staff in our district, as you can see, that are 10-month employees, which are affecting the cleanliness of our sites. And they are all wanting to be 12-month employees. I know this is a hot topic within maintenance and operations and the custodians. They want to give you their best, but they're not able to achieve it. And so part of the disheartening part of it is most of them that are 10 months, like for the Christmas break, they were off majority of the Christmas break. They came back for the last 3 days before school starts. Then you get quality control that comes in and gives them a 5-star review, but it's technically not a 5-star review. They're knocked on, dusting that's not done, walls that aren't clean, floors that can't be polished. The things that you guys are talking about tonight are the cleanliness of our schools. I have at my school myself, we're a custodial staff of 9. We have 2 custodians that are 9 months. We're asking you guys to get rid of these positions and make them all 12 months so that we can service our students, so that they are getting the best in our district. I appreciate you guys listening to me this evening.
Thank you. Tell
All
the
right,
board
great,
your
thank
name,
you.
if you would, please.
Jenny Peterson.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Okay, thank you both. Let's go to 9.3, report by Communication Workers of America.
I do see Ms. Hunter making her way.
Okay, great.
Ooh, marathon. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I'm Teresa Hunter with CWA 9588. I'm just here to present the reopener for our contract for one article and wages, and that is it.
Very good.
Okay,
Well,
great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
9.4, report by San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. Do we have any comments?
I see no
Okay,
report.
see none. 9.5, comments by board members, and I will start with Dr. Wyatt and then move this way.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I'll try to be as brief as possible. Definitely been a couple busy weeks lately. I know most of us on the board here have been attending a number of different events, and I was just very fortunate to be able to attend a few. And one of them that I really enjoyed was our LCAP meeting. And I just wanted to thank our folks that hosted the LCAP meeting, that set the LCAP meeting, and just the structure of it, which I thought was pretty amazing. I participated in a number of LCAP meetings myself, and when I walked away from there, I just really enjoyed the engagement of getting to go from station to station, and how quickly it moved. It was very well organized, and we were able to cover a lot of information real quickly. In our community and our LCAP folks that were there were able to see what we do. I mean, it was really kind of a nice fair kind of style where you got to visit booths and see a little bit of talent of each particular service we offer, which there are many booths. And so my hat's off to them as well as our community for being there. I got to go see Honor Band and Honor Orchestra, and wow is all I could say. We talk about our VAPA programs, Visual and Performing Arts. To see our elementary, middle school, and high school students, just an outstanding job that they've done, as well as our staff with teaching our kids. And then, just saw recently that our percussion band just was in a competition, took first place. So awesome job there. So, I love seeing that balance in our district between academic excellence, our visual performing arts, our athletic programs we're talking about. And so just as a board member, really did enjoy that. The only thing I brought up is that, we appreciate Pacific High School hosting those events, but I was like, can we get into our new theater? We get this brand new theater right here that is absolutely amazing, and I want our community to be able to enjoy that, to be able to come see and be a part of this theater and see where our money's being invested. We're talking about those things right now. And so they told me it's just that maybe it wasn't big enough. And I said, darn, it's not big enough. But good to know we're having that many people coming to our events. Our theater here, I think, holds 500 people. So if that's the max on it, then we should pack it and entertain our community and our brand new theater for our visual performing arts. But other than that, outstanding events. That's all I could say. And thank you very much.
Dr. Flores?
Yes, thank you. I want to thank the cabinet for all the BCs. Greatly appreciate it in terms of the things that, information that you give us. Just want to comment to my fellow board members that I attended the Latino Task Force this past February on Monday. I just want to say that I'm glad that we'll be on task, Dr. Marsden, that we'll be moving forward with the Latino Task Force so that it is completed, and that you did listen to the members. I did also attend LCAP, and LCAP, Dr. Mitchell, you were ill, but you would have been really happy with your all your staff that is under you, because they had little, how would you say, corners or tables where all the community members and parents could go to, and it was so. I mean, as I walked around, board members, you would be very proud of the participation of our community and so forth. And Doug Reeves, Dr. Reeves, spoke first, and then two of his colleagues were there. And so that was very, very good. And what they're going to do is they're going to take all the recommendations and juxtapose them to the ones that we have. It was updating the LCAP and so forth. So we're going to next time have all that available. I didn't write down the date over the next one, but the next Latino Task Force is March 18th, so it's on a Monday. So I look forward to that. And I went to DLAC on Friday, the DLAC meeting from 9:30 to 11:30, and Dr. Monares presented to the DLAC on TSSP, and I have to say that she did it in Spanish, her second language. It was phenomenal. I congratulate you. It was very good. And it was very well received in terms of, the plan, the strategic plan that we're moving forward. So I want to commend you, Dr. Monares, for that. And President Medina, I don't remember, I don't know, Dr. Volkmer, if you wrote this down or not, but that we were going to agendize the African American History B and the Latino History B as a district and board initiative. Did we do that?
So we were going to agendize it until we were, what they were going to do is they're going to provide maybe
a background. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. We did talk about this at Agenda Prep last week.
Okay.
And what I offered was to build in the African American, Black History B and Latino History B into the look at academic teams overall that the board has asked for, with mock trial, academic decathlon,
okay.
as a
great.
K to 12
Okay,
academic
great.
teams approach.
Oh, that's great.
And they seemed
so that we can support them.
Yes,
because
we
they
can
do
do
need
that.
coaches.
Absolutely.
And where we could provide funding for their coaches and so forth.
And
So
that
it's
was the-
more robust.
Mhm.
And and of course we want the kids to learn about their identity and their roots and where
Right.
they come from.
And
They have
so-
to know each other's roots and so forth. So, okay, thank you.
All right, Dr. Hill?
Thank you, Madam President. I also was with Scott and others at Pacific High School for the Honor Band Showcase concert. Absolutely wonderful. We have great staff members out there working with our students, and the students are just marvelous, elementary, middle school, and high school. I also went to San Bernardino Valley College to the 7th Annual Inspired Success Brunch with the middle college, high school students, and absolutely amazing. We were extended an invitation to even serve on the interview process. Anyone who wants to do that for middle college, but it was a very good luncheon. Students had wonderful questions they asked us. I was at a table with students who were interested in going to biology and the science field, so I was a little pressed there until one of the staff members at Valley College came, who was science professor. Also, we had our monthly CSBA, our California School Board Association meeting, and we are gearing up for some wonderful things. We did have a meeting with the Senate, with Senator Conaleva, who is now on the Senate side, the head of education, and she's asked for input from us. So we are building great relationships there. Today I had an opportunity to go to the University of Redlands and speak to almost 100 girls, STEM. These are the STEM girls. They were not from San Bernardino City Schools. They were from Yucaipa, Calamasa. And I hope we can have that type of relationship with Cal State. Now, this was done by AAUW, but it was just great. The campus was just overrun. They must have had about 8 to 10 buses over there of 8th graders on a college campus. Just wonderful. I also attended the adoption at Bunny Old Elementary School. ThinkWise Credit Union adopted them and also gave them a nice healthy check because they heard their honor band play, and I'm sure Dr. Marsden's going to share something on that. And other than that, we continue to be busy with our mom mobs. I hope you saw the article in the paper Sunday that we were out there with the men, so we might have to rename it from Mom Mob. I don't know what we're going to call it, but we'll call it something because we're glad to have the guys out there, and the students just love them. And I just want to say to you, Chief Polino, it was so nice to have the police officers there when we were at George Brown, which was a week ago, Monday, that they were there with the cadets passing out good citizenship tickets and giving out the little stickers. So the kids just loved that. So the police got more hugs than the moms did. So that's another reason we want them to come back. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing that. And then now we have our awardee for the Assembly District 47 Woman of the Year, Ms. Rogers.
All right, yes, thank you. So I had a lot going on, needless to say, but one event that really stuck out, which was the most recent one, was on, I think it was on Sunday. Yeah, it was on Sunday, which is the Dream Academy partnership that we're having with I think it's the Seventh-day Advent Church is partnering with students going over there, and these are students that have been identified to have parents that have been incarcerated. And this is a huge need. This is something that the county had taken on and had a number of individuals look into doing that. But that is some serious work, and those, I understand, I guess the Dream Academy has been doing this nationwide and around, and it was just a great grand opening, and for them to open up their facility to have it available for that work to be done was just stellar. So that really stuck out to me, and I'm glad we're looking at working, having a place to send our students. The second note that I made actually came from tonight when I heard about the gate program process, and I really haven't heard it in a long time. So hopefully maybe we can get that process and just understand what it is, because I remember being a part of it. You have one kid is supposed to be gate and the other one's not, and then one is doing better than the other. But I really want to know, are they really placing them in certain classrooms? I mean, what happens after you're identified? What's the difference between the classroom that you're in versus the one that that is supposedly is gate identified? And then lastly, I was again disappointed with one comment, because since I've been on the board, and as many of you know, I work with foster youth through my day job, but a lot of work with the Department of Behavioral Health. And I remember Dr. Hill saying she knew Alan Rawlings. It was a huge, I mean, when I first came to the county and started working, he was one of the ones that really inspired me around destigmatizing mental health. And so when I came to the school side, it was just that the language was different. But the county really did a wonderful job saying we're not going to stigmatize or have a stigma on mental health issues. And here, we're doing some work around it, and I'm appreciative to it, but we run into this all the time. We have the experts in this city. We're the county seat with major resources here, but yet we sometimes try to cross over into areas that is not our expertise. Teachers are not experts, and they never will be. And I'm not saying that against their profession. That's not what they went into the profession to do. But we do have support agencies such as the large Department of Behavioral Health. And since I got on the board, I have been asking, even to the point where I asked, the director of it to meet our people, whoever that person may be on this side. And I know Dr. Menares has done some work, and I know some of you have done some work, but we're not clear, because we still have people coming and saying, what do we do, what do we do? And if you're a partner of the Department of Behavioral Health, they're the crisis interventions, they're the specialists, they're all of those people that know how to do this work. And so it is my hope that we marry the relationship, that we create a MOU, we create some intentional understanding, so that we can bring those two relationships together where we are in this day. I mentioned Dr. Hill because before, when Alan was here, he had agreed to offer the free services in every school back then. Imagine if we did that. And he's been retired for how long now, Dr. Hill? It's been a while. Over 8 years. So imagine if we would have done that prior, before he retired, now where we would be. They offered that services, and they're still not being partners. So I hope we understand that they have all kind of subcommittees. I sit on a number of them, but besides that, they're there to support our families. They're there to support our teachers. They're there to support us, because that is what behavioral health is. It's not the educational lens, it's the Department of Behavioral Health. Just like we have a public health, when there's public health issues and crisis, it's right here. And they will offer those services. They will come. This is our county? This is our county. And that's why we're the county seat, because we have those major players here, and we must marry those relationships. Otherwise, everyone will continue to come to us, and with our bleeding heart, we want to help, but we're outside the scope of our work. Mental health is not just something you try to do because you feel good and you're inspired to do. You can make a wrong diagnosis. You can say something that is way out of the scope of your work. So thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing that. That's really, really important. Okay, Mr. Gallo?
Yes, thank you. Well, I was fortunate enough to attend the annual strategic plan kind of update. I think, Dr. Marsden, you're going to talk about that in a little bit, so I won't go into any details on that. But we had people who participated in the original plan, which was, about 8 years ago now, come together every year under Dr. Lindsay Gunn's leadership. And we've collapsed a couple of the action plans and things, and they've really given some comprehensive analysis of where they've been, what accomplishments they've made in this past year, and then the next steps. So I really like that we're maintaining that strategic planning focus in tangible ways on how we're implementing action plans, and that's really the value, I think, of the strategic planning process that we've again maintained for about 8 years. And then Janie, I have a question on where we are with our student-run business operations kind of mindset of trying to get our student businesses that are part of our career pathways, financial way of basically allowing each one of these businesses to have some kind of retained dollars and things. Were we able to make any progress on that?
I have not, I didn't get an update yet with the team. I know they've planned a number of visits to other school
great.
to school
Great.
districts, and so I'll have something
Maybe
for
we
you
could
next
do it
week.
next time or
Yes.
something
Yeah,
and
thank
see,
you.
because I know that there's a few in the district that are looking to do this and figure out ways that we could actually have students maybe get paid some internship dollars out of that and some, without being, part of the whole district process here. I know it's got to be, we have to be accountable for those dollars and things, and there are some models. Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, we'll start
Look forward
with
to the update.
with the business piece probably first, and then we'll go to the
Great.
interns. Okay,
Yeah, look
thank
forward,
you.
look forward to it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, on the subject of mental health, I just want to say it for the record, because I dealt with an issue recently with a child that probably needed some counseling, and when the recommendation was made to the parents that they could go to behavioral health, there are some parents in the community afraid of behavioral health because of thinking there's going to be an investigation or fear of some folks in behavioral health and the counselors being mandatory reporters. So there is a built-in fear there, and a lot of the parents won't reach out to those services because of that. I had never thought about that until I ran upon this recently. So I don't know what the fix is for that, but in the community there is a train of thought amongst some people that you have to be leery of working with behavioral health also. So it's just food for thought. And if it has changed, then the word needs to get out there, because the people still have the fear. And think about it, it only takes one time for a parent to allow their child to go talk to a counselor, and then the counselor reports it to someone who then people show up at your door and they take your kids away, and people get fear. So that's what the thinking is. So so after I'm gonna finish this last part, because Dr. Hill only chastises me about how long I take to talk, but I don't take it personal, Dr. Hill. I'm either gonna take some time to talk about you. Dr. Hill got an award on Saturday at the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity's Black and White Ball. This is her 103rd Citizen of the Year award. But it was, but congratulations, Dr. Hill. Let's give her a round of applause.
And Mr. Tillman
Thank you.
got an award as well.
It was his 124th award, Citizen Award.
All right, thank you very much. And then with, I guess since we're on the topic of mental health, I do want to say that the Department of Behavioral Health is also very inclusive, because we were able to host, through different organizations, Love is Love Behavioral Health, which is, and so they were able to provide resources as well. We teamed up with the Teamsters, several unions, as well as other nonprofit organizations, but behavioral health, Department of Behavioral Health was at the forefront. So I was very proud to see that they are working at an inclusive type of way of including everyone. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and with Dr. Marsden, who has a good list of great things that has been happening in our school district. So Dr. Marsden, if you can go ahead and try to fit that in, not within the 5 minutes, because I know you have more than 5 minutes.
There's quite a few things, quite a
Yes.
few successes. When Carl and I looked at it today, we're proud of all the things going on. But I'm going to have actually Dr. Perez start us off with a session she recently attended with her team and speak to our counselors' participation in this national training. So with that.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. So actually a couple of items I know our board has asked about: how are we hearing students' voice around counselors and the supports that they're receiving. So this year, for the first time, we have established a student advisory around counseling specifically. And so Dr. Marsden was able to come in and see that and spend some time with the students and just really hear from them. So as we think about building our counseling strategic plan, we're wanting to hear from all of our stakeholders and really taking to heart what our students are saying, because at the end of the day, they're the folks who are the end receiver of the service. So we were excited. It was the second student advisory around counseling specifically just last week. And then I was able to spend Monday, they were actually there Monday and Tuesday, our counselors and some of our principals, who are not in the room anymore, but several of the leaders that were with us this evening also were down in San Diego with me yesterday with their counseling teams. So really looking at the evolving role of the counselor and how that has become so data-driven. And we spent a lot of time looking at what you guys have already seen around the college and career indicators and helping counselors see what their role is in helping our students be identified as prepared. And so it was a great time. It was a national conference, so there were counselors from all over the nation, very heavy representation from California, which I found to be great because we were able to hear things from other school districts and counties that were on the forefront of a lot of this work, so a lot of networking. And all of that will add value to this counseling strategic plan that we're putting together. So I just wanted to make sure that we were keeping all of our board in the loop on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perez. And then I want to compliment Dr. Volkermer and Linda Bardier's leadership around our community engagement plan. This is no small task when you're talking about this rudder that drives this huge ship, our strategic direction that this board is setting. And so with that, Dr. Volkermer, you would just provide a brief update, and again, compliments to both he and Linda for their incredible work to codify this effort.
Thank you, Dr. Marsden. Board, you received, just a couple months ago, we gave you an update on where we had been with re-energizing the community engagement plan and the process we were going to use to refresh the action plans. That all led to the annual meeting that happened last week on Friday. We made some recommendations to that annual review team in terms of taking two strategies and making them guiding principles, and then combining two sets of two other strategies to go from 9 strategies to 5. We'll be bringing that back to you as a board for your approval. That we got the approval of the CEP annual review team on Friday. And it was a very, very healthy discussion, very lively discussion. But we'll be bringing that back to you hopefully by the end of the year, just to get your approval on those changes to the strategies for the community engagement plan. We also shared with them a number of metrics that are as a result of the KPIs that come from the 4 strategic objectives, as well as some organizational health indicators that we use our employee satisfaction survey and our Franklin Covey Speed of Trust Index. So it was a good day. I again also want to thank Linda for her great efforts in terms of marketing and promotional materials. And we've got some really great, very recent, just as of Friday, survey data on how the community engagement plan is becoming more deeply intertwined into the work of the district. So we'll be sharing that with you at a future meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Volkermer. And then, board, I'm going to go down a long list of compliments and kudos and congratulations. So these are good things happening across our district. So kudos to Kim Bark Elementary School for raising $661 in January as part of the Great Kindness Challenge. The money was donated to schools and students affected by the Camp Fire in Northern California. Congratulations to the elementary students who won first place in the Black History Bee. You saw some of them tonight. You saw them tonight. Congratulations to them, first place winners, 5th and 6th graders, Jonathan Vargas and Monique Vargas, who you saw tonight. And then along with that, Dr. Volkermer is taking, as we have mock trial and speech and debate and other extracurricular activities, he's taking the Black History Bee, the Latino History Bee, under that same kind of guidance to provide strategic direction to that effort, so more and more students can benefit from those programs across the board. And then congratulations, as you heard, to the Drumline Middle and High School groups, Chavez Middle School and San Bernardino Percussion, who competed and won their first completion in their respective classes. Congratulations also to Curtis and Serrano Middle Schools on being re-designated as schools to watch. Schools to watch are able to retain their designation if they sustain progress. King Middle School is the district's 4th and newest schools to watch. Reminder, we'll be celebrating with the team there in Sacramento March 14th and in DC June 29th. We do have 3 board members who've indicated interest for the DC trip, and so if you'd like to serve as an alternate, let us know and we'll accommodate. Congratulations to Pacific High School on earning the 2019 Civic Learning Award of Distinction by the state of California for its efforts to engage students in civic education. Pacific High was one of just 6 California schools to receive this award. I'm going to say that one part again. I don't want you to miss this. Pacific High School is one of just 6 California schools to receive this award and the only school in San Bernardino County to be honored. Congratulations to Richardson Prep High for being named a 2019 California Distinguished School by the California Department of Education. The reception will be held on Friday, April 5th from 11:30 to 3 p.m. with the awards ceremony dinner starting at 6. So if you'd like to attend, please let Karen Cunningham or Carla Cross know for assistance. Congratulations to Lido Creek Elementary teacher Alice Geske, who was selected as a finalist for the Woman of the Year for the 47th District. But then congratulations to our own Gwen Rogers, who has been selected as the Woman of the Year for the 47th District. Congratulations also go out to Recruitment and Employment Director Dr. Marcus Funchess and San Bernardino High School Vice Principal Persida Torres on their recognition from the Association of California School Administrators, Region 12. Mr. Funchess was named Human Resources Administrator of the Year, and Ms. Torres was named Secondary Co-Administrator of the Year. The reception is scheduled from Monday, April 15th. If you'd like to attend, please contact Karen Cunningham or Carla Cross for assistance. I also want to congratulate one of our own, Miss Linda Bardier, for being honored as the 2019 Woman of Distinction on Saturday, March 30th, 2019 by Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated's Phi Mu Zeta chapter. This award recognizes Mrs. Bardier's outstanding contributions and years of service to the community as the district's Director of Communications, Community Relations. If you'd like to attend, please contact Karen Cunningham or Carla Cross. Let's give her a big hand. Round of applause. Congratulations. Way to represent. The San Bernardino City Unified School District has been selected to receive, and this is a big deal, we just got this notification today, California's Together prestigious Multiple Pathway to Biliteracy District Recognition Award in recognition of the district's values and promotion of multilingual and multicultural opportunities for all students. Board, this is a big deal. The award also recognizes that the district has implemented actions that are exemplary and can serve as a model to be shared across the state. I want to thank our Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, Dr. Keenan Mitchell, for his leadership in this effort, and Director of English Learner Programs, Ms. Anna Applegate, for her leadership in this program together. Congratulations to them. Big deal. Also last week, the program, Infant Toddler Success Program, we held a program to formally change its name to the Dr. Albert Carnig Infant Toddler Success Program, KITS for short. Carnig Infant Toddler Success. Marilyn Carnig was present and recognized also for her support. To date, we've served over 700 families, prenatal care to how to read with, play with, hold your child, and help them be prepared for school, 0 to 36 months. Yesterday, I joined Operation Safe Routes, students and staff at Hunt Elementary School for our walk. So grateful for our county sheriff and city police partners being present with us and our own team as well. Cal State San Bernardino, I attended their accreditation meeting. I was the only public member as part of that team this week, so that was kind of an encouragement for our relationship and looking forward to great continued success there. As a reminder, we will have our Career Pathways discussion Thursday, March 7th from 8 to noon, so if you'd like to be a part of that, please let us know. It'll be at the Professional Development Center from 8 to noon. And then on Wednesday, April 10th, Cabinet will include key external stakeholders within the college and business community to provide their input as well. Board, I want you to put on your radar the San Bernardino Community College District's Promise Initiative launch. Board, as a reminder, the San Bernardino Community College District will host the launch of their Promise Initiative on Friday, March 8th, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. If you'd like to attend, please let Karen or Carla know. A little recognition here of George Bond. Thank you to our Personnel Commissioner, George Bond, for establishing a scholarship fund offering $2,000 to a student interested in becoming a teacher through the San Bernardino Community Scholarship Association for eligible students. Thank you, George, for your continued support of the students of San Bernardino City Unified School District. And then in closing, as it was already stated, I want to congratulate Board Member Dr. Margaret Hill for being honored and recognized by the San Bernardino Riverside area alumni of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated last Saturday for her work as a writer and published author. Congratulations. Those are my comments.
That was another one. That wasn't the same one.
That's a different one.
Wow.
Well, there's another one. There's another 110. Well deserved.
She's going for it.
For the books, Sunday at 4 o'clock, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and Riverside NAACP honored 5 of us for the Arts and Writers Award. So I received my award with Jay Boykins, who plays the saxophone while skateboarding, Charles Bibbs, the artist, Wanda Scrubs, who is a musician, Clifford Breland, who has a dance studio in Riverside. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Hill. Those are all my comments, Madam President. Thank you for your
great.
patience,
Thank you.
Board.
As you can see, we are doing a lot of good things in our school district, and I'm really proud of the many works and the efforts that we have been accomplishing. So we're going to go ahead and go to 10.0, consent calendar. First of all, let me get a motion.
Move to approve.
Second,
Okay, any items to be pulled?
yes,
Okay.
10.15.
You have already pulled item 10.15, correct?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Any other items? Okay, hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All's in favor say aye.
Aye.
All's opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. So with 10.15, if everyone can go to that page really quickly.
Page 11, item
Page
10.15.
Page 11. So there were several concerns. We had to pull this item because of conflicting or potential issues pertaining to the separation of church and state. So then, I don't know if any board members, I know we were able to discuss this during closed session, but if any other board members had any comments?
Well, and for the public, if I may, I'll read item 10.15, agreement with Joyco Youth and Family Services, San Bernardino, California, to provide the Courageous Leadership Summit and the Fearless Leadership Summit for district students.
Okay. So any conversations on this? Okay, Dr. Hill?
Thank you, Madam President. I was fortunate enough to attend a presentation at the Courageous Leadership Summit, and I don't remember if it was October or November or just when it was. I was very excited. Students were enjoying themselves. I was just really thrilled. The only thing that bothered me about that, I didn't get an article to run in my newspaper, so I don't know what happened that I didn't get that, because I probably would have learned a little bit more. I wasn't exactly familiar with all the entities and the pieces that went along with putting that together. And I didn't have a concern until we saw the item. And because of the number of district employees that I saw there, I was concerned with the size of the budget for the one day on a Saturday, and where would those 500 females be? Because I know the cafeteria at San Bernardino High School is not large enough for that. There was a good group of parents and students there, and I estimated students to be about 150. And so I thought this was quite a jump from 150 to 500 on a Saturday. So the problem I had with this was the amount that we were spending for consultants and perhaps other areas that I was excited about it. I can't say anything other than what I saw that day I was pleased with. and thought you had done a good job. And again, even at that point, I thought it was pretty much district run because there were a lot of staff members from the district who were presenters and did an awesome job, a great job, even when they tried to wobble. Well, no, not tried, when they did wobble. But it was good. But the problem I'm having, and you know, and I know many of you know me, when it comes to straddling the fence and when it comes to good things for students, I'll do everything I can to support students. But I'm at a point right now that I'm not feeling comfortable with the dealing with the separation of church and school or the education system. But I'm also not comfortable with information I don't already know about the consultants. I don't think we can ever spend too much money on our students because we want them to be safe. We want them to build self-esteem. We want them to feel good about themselves. But I just want to go on record to say I like the program. I'm not sure how I feel right now on getting there. And I haven't been able to convince myself this is a good thing to do without some type of reorganization. And I guess that's all I can say at this time. I might be back to share something else, but.
Okay. And then
Just point of order. You know, normally you're supposed to have a motion and then a second.
we did, didn't we?
No.
No, we haven't.
You didn't?
I apologize.
But if
You're
you
correct.
pull-
We
if
do.
you pull
you're
an item,
correct.
if you
Yeah,
pull an
do
item,
need
you don't have
you
discussion
do need a
on it.
motion in a second, Mr.
So I
Thomas.
thought I did. I thought I did.
No, you did on all the items, but not on this. item.
We approved all the other items
Okay.
except for this item. So what
Except for
norm-
this item. That's
so
why
some-
I raised my
In order to
hand.
have discussion, somebody would have to move, somebody would have to second.
Okay,
If
so then
nobody
that was
seconds,
my
you
error.
I
wouldn't
was
have
going to
discussion.
say point of order too, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay.
Dr.
So
Hill.
then I would need a motion.
I
You're right.
I wanted
And I
to
would need a
address.
second.
I would like to make the motion.
Okay,
And I need a second.
No, I need to make the motion with an
Oh, okay.
amendment.
Oh, okay.
With an amendment.
Okay, go ahead.
Given your concern, President Medina, I also share that concern about the separation of state and
Church and
church. So my motion is an amendment that we have a provision to not have no religious content. And if JACO violates this condition, it would be a breach of contract. And that way we ensure that there's a separation of state and church.
Okay.
So I move to vote. I move the motion with this amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Now we can have discussion.
Now,
That's
and
point of
then
order. Thank you.
we do take note your comment, sorry, Dr. Hill, for not
Thank you.
voting on that previously. Did you want to add any additional information? No, Dr. Hill, before she
Dr.
finishes.
Hill, oh, okay.
No, I still have some, concerns, but I'll let everyone else speak.
Okay. Okay.
I would
And
like
then-
to, I would like to support this item with the amendment. Our kids, I share the same support of our students. You know, I have a little bit more information because I did speak to some of our staff regarding the summit. It's to promote inspiration and leadership for our kids, which is something that they have said in the advisory, student advisory, that they want to feel part of our district and also be able to, you know, feel like they belong. And yes, it's a lot of money. And so, however, we spend lots of money in other ways. I know that we're going to evaluate it, right, Dr. Mitchell? It will be evaluated. So we'll get feedback in terms of our kids and what that will be for the next time that it comes forward.
Okay, and any other board members? I know with myself, I have a couple of clarifications. First of all, I do have the same concerns as Dr. Hill has with regarding the cost and some of the other issues pertaining to, and I received certain comments from the community saying that when you look at the website, it is very church-based, which is not a bad thing. But when you see videos and so forth, it's just something that we want to make sure that we're not legally liable for anything, and we don't get ourselves into trouble that would pose an issue. But when you also look at how many employees of our school district are part of this, as well as promotion of the program, that's one thing that kind of drew me back a little bit, because the way it was promoted even before our vote, which I just didn't understand. I know in certain circumstances, when it comes to students going on certain field trips or so forth, that make common sense that they would need to attend. But in this case, this was something that was being promoted without even being approved through the school district, which kind of shows of, were they thinking, what if it didn't approve? Was it still going to go forward? Was this going to come out of their own pocket? So that's something that I wanted to make sure that we also, that kind of threw me off a little bit. And so that's where I'm coming from right now. I don't know if any other board members.
Yeah, I agree. I think we kind of talked about this prior and before, and even as board members, we are always out there to support the things that we can support, but we have to be cautious what our involvement is, and the decisions that we make, for one, is really for all, and we never want to give the impression that we are favoring one or the other. And I know, as I mentioned before, there was some requests made, and that was prior to even having clarity as to how much the district was involved, or how much, what district staff was or wasn't doing. And then when you pull in board members, it just, it was kind of like a red flag, and we had to dial back and make sure, are we in the right position, or for myself, am I in the right position? So those were the concerns that I share as we consider this tonight.
Okay, and then Mr. Gallo?
Yes, and I guess my tendency is to support specifically because it comes recommended by our EL department and our chair. So, I'm sure they've got a number of priorities that they've identified and can spend, this significant amount of money on lots of things, and they chose to bring this forward and propose it be spent here. So, I'm not in a position to really second guess their prioritization and value add, but I would like to see some metric or some report at the conclusion of this, if we were to approve it, and get a sense of kind of the evaluation of, was this a worthy expenditure?
Okay. So. And then Mr. Gallo, Mr. Tillman, you had a comment?
No, I just have a real concern about the amount of money not being tied to the actual number of students. When I talk to everyone, I'm consistent about it. People want to do a program with the district, I tell them, you have to look at what the cost is. It's the same thing with when we talked about Drumline. My biggest fear is if we're charging $100,000 and you say you're going to have 1,000 kids participate, but only 10 kids show up, then that means I'm paying $10,000 a kid. That in no way is a good thing. And I got the same risk here, where it's saying that there's going to be 500 people, and I'm assuming it's in San Bernardino High School's cafeteria. Is that where the concert is? Is it in the cafeteria? In the cafeteria? And does the MU, does the capacity 500 people? Yeah, because, 1,200? Yeah. So if there's some, and I know maybe because of the contract you can't do it, but to me, my only concern is to make sure that if they say we 500 people, that we only pay the money if 500 people show up. And I don't know if we can make an amendment or find some way to ensure that we have some way of knowing that
Right.
that's what the cost is going to be per student. I just have a huge fear that if that many kids don't show up, then you got a potential of paying $500 or $700 for a one-day event per person. That's just too much risk for me.
And so then, just to clarify with Mr. Tillman, so is it $70 per student? So if only, let's just say 20 students show up, they only get paid $70 per student? Okay, just to make sure I clarified that. Dr. Hill?
Thank you. And I don't know if this is protocol or not, but since we have representatives here, my big concern is still the consultants, and maybe you can let us know if it's,
We
if
do have a
can.
public comment
Okay.
from some of them, so I think we'll have them
Oh,
come up
good.
once the board's exhausted their
Yeah,
comments here.
I just want to know who are the consultants, who are being paid.
All right, great. Any other board comments before we bring them up?
Any other staff comments before public comment? Okay. With that, we'll invite Devo Martin and team. Come on up. Good evening, welcome. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Awesome. First of all, thank you guys for letting us serve this city with you and to carry the weight of the work that needs to be done in this city. We know it's not easy, and we're fully committed to this. We left it all. You may not know our story, but we're in full time doing what we do. And by a series of events, we decided to take the greatest leap of our life, leave it all, with no way of knowing how we were going to take care of our 3 kids. But we're wanting to take the risk with you. I want to address a couple things that you guys brought up that's important to us. I can see the challenge in maybe separating church to state, and I'm willing to work with you to have that separation. One of the things that I thought of right away is to actually, when you go to leadershipsummitsb.com, I thought it was the simplest way to set up that page. It was the easiest way because we already had a site set up. And it was just a more convenient way for us to do that. What we could do probably right away in less than 24 hours is to actually have that go to another page that's not tied to the faith-based aspect of what we do. Our last Courageous event, we didn't have any issues with any religious affiliation at all. We did no prayer. We quoted no scriptures from the Bible. If it was out of someone just quoting something positive, but we didn't say turn to the Bible, nothing like that. It's open to anyone, no matter what religion you come from, no matter how you identify yourself. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to be a Christian. You can be whatever you want, and you can attend the event. We identify multiple career pathways for the kids in our breakout sessions, entrepreneurial skills, multiple things that we deal with in our breakout sessions. Ultimately, we want to love the kids. If we can leave a mark on their lives to know that they can know that they were loved, that will carry them through the rest of their lives. And that's the mark, ultimately, that we want to leave. What did we forget here?
I want to address the comment that Dr. Hill had. Thank you guys for having us. I'm Donna Martin. The vision of how Courageous was birthed is that as I was volunteering in the district, I started to see that there were a lot of district leaders who were female. And I thought it was a very interesting opportunity to unite the female leaders in the district with the girls and try to find some kind of platform to do that. So to specifically address the comment about district employees running most of the event, it was just they were participating because I want the girls to see that these are the women that are fighting for them every day. I want them to be able to make a positive idea of them. That's why we had the panel discussion with the district leaders and the speed mentoring with the district leaders, because I don't want it to be some outsiders, that are speaking into these girls all the time. I want them to see that these are the women that are fighting for you every day, speaking into your life, and give them that opportunity to create relationship with other district leaders. Again, separation between church and state. This was not birthed out of a desire to push any type of religious agenda. Again, Courageous was to inspire the girls to be everything that they could be. We want them to make an impact in their school. We want them to make an impact in their community. And we believe that from the feedback that we got, and hopefully you got some of the feedback forms that we did have them fill out feedback forms at the last Courageous event. The girls said they were inspired. They said that they were, we had feedback from parents who said they wanted to go back to college after coming to our event. And just from community members who really excited about seeing their district leaders connect with them on a different level, on a personal level. Again, like my husband said, we have breakout sessions on entrepreneurship, on dressing for success, breakout sessions on leadership, on stopping human trafficking so the girls can recognize that in the community, and if it's starting to happen, God forbid, on the campus. And then breakout sessions just on very practical things that they can take, how to apply for college, what steps do you need to take. All of our motivational speakers, they come with a message of hope and encouragement, and we know that the girls are going to be impacted by that, just from the feedback that we had last time. I do want to address the promotional side of it ahead of time. Do not mean for that to be disrespectful. After the first Courageous Leadership Summit, we got a lot of feedback that we wanted to do this again. And so we ended up turning in whatever paperwork. We're still learning this process, so forgive us for that. Paperwork that needed to be turned in for that. And as soon as we started started signing contracts, we started promoting it, because as you know, with any event, it takes a lot to get people there, especially students. I just want to comment that we are close to 400 girls registered already for Courageous, and we are 200 boys registered for Fearless. They have 2 weeks to go. We will hit 500 at the end of this week, just promoting just the rest of this week, and people always show up. And so we did have 250 girls that showed up the last time at San Bernardino. We moved it to Curtis because we knew we were going to get double the girls. And so that's why we projected it, and we are on track to get 500 girls. But I am not opposed to putting a provision in there if need be, that if only 475 show up, then we get paid for the 475. It's about the girls, it's about the kids. And we based our price based on the guest speakers that we're bringing in, on the arts that we're bringing in. We're bringing in dance teams from Hollywood. We're bringing in artists, and he raffles off the art for the girls. We bring in a lot of the arts to help inspire the girls as well, just so we're not talking to them all day, that they get to see visual representations of inspiration.
I want to win, and that for me means getting as much feedback from a team, our board, and everyone. When it's all said and done, I want to know that we won. That's it. I want to win. And I didn't do what I did. I took a great risk, and I want to win. And winning to me is seeing that these kids are doing more than they ever could have ever thought they could do before in their lives. Winning for me is defying the statistics, seeing a child defy the statistics of what is happening over and over and over. We were youth pastors at the Way World Outreach for 6 years, and even with everything that we were doing, reaching hundreds of kids and working with them and their parents for all these years here in San Bernardino, it just wasn't enough. And my commitment is to work with you on whatever we need to do to make it work. I'm here to fight for you. I don't know if you're going to find very many people that has my heart to fight with you for this next generation, but I have a lifetime commitment to fight with you, and in a good way. And for this generation, you're not alone. You're not alone, and again, I know it's not easy. We're working with the students, working with the parents. It's not an easy task, but whatever we need to do with your wisdom and guidance, whether it happens in this session, and maybe it happens on a phone call, maybe it happens in a meeting in your office, if you would make yourself available in your very, 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 very busy schedules, if you would make yourself available to say, hey, try this, this will get you the impact that you're going to make for these kids. I am open for that, but please make yourself available to me and my wife. We don't, in some instance, I tell people I don't know what I'm doing, and that keeps me open for wisdom and knowledge. So we are here, we're fighting for you, and we, believe it or not, we pray for you. So seeing your names with the faces is kind of a big moment for me, because I'm thinking we prayed for you. My wife and I, we sat in our living room and we prayed for every single one of you. And I hope saying that doesn't mess things up, but we do pray for you. We love these kids, no matter where they come from, no matter what religion they serve, if they're atheists, non-atheists, that in the end, will they win? Will they graduate? Will they be successful? Will they accomplish their dreams? Will they go and do things that they never had done before? Will they have hope? Those are the things that we're hoping to accomplish, and with your help, I believe we will do that. And so I don't know if we touched on every single one of
So
your
we do have
concerns.
a board member with a comment. So Dr. Hill?
I just want to share, you didn't have to say any of that to convince me.
Yeah.
I was there, and I know the work you
Yeah.
do, and that's not my concern, what you do. I expect you to do a stellar job, just like you, well, even better than last time, and that was extremely good. It was well done. So I don't want you to think that was my concern, not what you were going to do, but I was just, being a steward over
Yes,
taxpayers'
understand.
money. You can't just take everything with a grain of salt, and I do. I process it all, and
Yes.
and what decisions I make is, am I really making the right decision?
Yes. So I
But-
don't think we addressed actually your concern about the consultants, right?
But yeah, that's what I want to hear primarily, the consultants.
you're
But I've
looking-
even changed my mind a little bit here, and you say you have a commitment for 400.
Yes, and we
young
already
people.
are over 300 registered, just for Courageous.
Yeah, the Courageous is at 376 right now, close to 400. We have gotten some phone calls from different middle schools who are saying they're wanting to bus in some girls. And so I've said, hold on a second until we have this meeting. But we are close to that. The boys are strong at 200, and they still have another week and a half to go to promote. As you guys know, people come and register and do all those things at the last minute. And so I'm actually hoping we will cap it at 500 because we cannot accommodate anymore. And just for the intimacy of the session and for security and all that, we don't want to go over 500.
And so these are students who actually registered?
Yes, they have
through a
actually signed
cert-
up and registered. We've also partnered some with community engagement, so the foster kids are getting involved in wanting to come. And again, it's an idea of pulling ourselves all together. We're in this district. Our kids go to the schools in this district. They go to Pacuma. We are parents of this district, and so it's not just for us to just come in and just do whatever. It is that we want to partner with the district, and let's pull in the resources. We have kids from Arroyo, their media pathway team that's going to come and film the whole event. We want to get the kids involved in doing this together, and if somehow we can facilitate that process, that's all we're asking.
Well, my last question, if you could just share
Yes.
with us one or two of the consultants you're bringing in.
Oh,
You're looking at two of the major consultants right here with our team.
with our team, we have done the bulk of all the work to put this together.
Okay.
And then we are bringing in motivational speakers, woman who has 20 years experience working with youth. And then we have some Hollywood people that are coming in and helping us to motivate the kids. The kids get excited about seeing people that they see in the movies come and share with them a message of hope, who many of them have come from the same places that they've come from. So that's it.
So, and this is work that we have put in. We've been working on this for months, building this, promoting it. And we do this like literally step by step with literally no promise of maybe there's something and maybe there's nothing. That's how we took a leap of faith almost a year ago, doing everything that we do in the schools, and we're still standing, and I'm happy to say that, and we're excited about that. And so it's our whole team that's involved. We're being very strategic about putting alongside kids to be part of these events now. So we've got some professionals alongside of our students working together to host or greet or whatever, perform as part of this event, which is cool. We have our Fearless event that's coming up in 2 weeks. And one of the things that kind of came up a couple weeks that was in my heart was to actually do something to honor men in front of our young men. And so we're actually going to bring in as many coaches that are available that day, and we're actually going to do something really big to honor all of our coaches in front of our young men, because we really don't believe that our young men are seeing men honored before their very eyes. And so we're going to honor our coaches and make it a really, really big deal. And we're hoping that will be a good kickoff to just a different thing in the hearts of our young men, different culture. And so,
Okay, and then Mr. Tillman?
Yeah, so I'll support it if you all say you're willing to make it so that it's based on the number of students that attend. I'll support it if we make that modification to your motion.
But then I also want to make sure that how are we counting the students? So how
you have registration.
We have check-in.
And you're gonna do check-in.
not by registration.
No, we have
by students who are
check in.
attending.
Right,
Yeah, because
but-
you can register. Because I've done organizing too.
No. I'm saying they start the process. You have folks that register. If people
When they
show up,
get there, they have to check in.
right, and then as they check in, you mark them off the list or put them in the computer system. Yeah, and
Okay.
then based on that, you'll send the invoice to the district to pay you.
And we'll have surveys and some metrics to present as
But
well.
I'm just worried about
of that.
making sure we have the count, because
So what
I
is
don't want
your
to a
friendly
huge
amendment,
discrepancy.
Mr. Tillman? What is your friendly
Yes,
amendment?
he's amending it to $70 per
What is your
student.
friendly amendment? Are you asking?
Oh
me
yeah,
to-
just to add that the payment will be based on the
Payment
numbers,
will be based on
the number of students who
of-
attend.
okay.
At $70 per
Uh-huh.
attendee.
Okay.
Is that okay?
For the courageous.
But we
For-
have to make
for
sure
both.
that's
They have
okay
two
with
of
them.
them.
Okay.
Once, right.
Oh, for both, okay.
This is both, right.
Now, the thing is that, is there any concerns or any questions or comments by the by the district? Is that something that we can do, just to make sure? Because I saw some, what?
It would be not to exceed the contract amount. So if we do $70 per or whatever per,
Right.
it was still not to exceed.
Exactly.
Okay,
That
so
would
we
be
can do
the,
both.
not
So
to
that means-
exceed, okay.
That means turning away students, even if there's room. So
No,
that breaks my heart personally.
you
And
can
I mean,
Not
because
really,
if there's
not really,
You could have a-
because it will be
you
up.
could have
it
1,000
will be
people in
up-
a room.
It will be up to
It's-
500.
The
that
contract
you will
amount
be
would be at a not to exceed.
And the key to this is consistency. We've done the same thing with other people who contract, and they tell us the same thing. There may be a week-long program, it's $1,000 a person, and we actually had this happen last year. And they said we did an extra 50 kids. No, you can't do extra 50 students because we have a budget we have to manage, and so we only can pay based. We're doing this based on this number, and that's why he said not to exceed.
If you have more students, you still will get the money that it doesn't exceed the amount that's on here. Yeah.
Okay.
It's up to you to allow them in. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's up to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Another piece was, I think that would be a great one. I still have one more comment though, because you did mention that in the previous, that although it wasn't presented as part of the speaker's discussion on, biblical or verses and so forth, but it was, you mentioned, and I wanted to just clarify that there might have been other individuals that's part of there that could have mentioned it. And I'm wondering if that could pose any issues, if there's anything.
An individual.
So I wasn't sure if I heard it correctly, but I think you mentioned that although it wasn't presented through those that were presenting and the speakers and so forth that were organizing, but there are individuals in there. So I just wanted to make sure that.
Well, anybody that's speaking on behalf of whatever, it is not faith-based at all. So anybody that has a mic in their hand, there is nothing faith-based
But
going
even
on.
if
or
it's
any
not
of
my
we're
wrong.
Let me clarify. We don't have people walking around saying things.
No, but what
no,
you,
there's
but,
none
no,
of that
no,
happening.
But what we're trying to clarify now is you're going to have to manage that specifically and be responsible. Now that everyone is underneath you, you become responsible. If they go rogue, basically, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
As before, when you said if somebody could have said, or not just you two, but if someone associated or you invited some people
Yeah,
from, that's what you got to manage.
And that happens. So at this event, especially at Fearless, I got people coming from all over. And so I also have to manage someone saying inappropriate words. So it happens on so many different levels. But yes, that is one part that I have to manage as well. But because, again, I have people who are non-churchgoers, who are just good people, want to serve the community, that they may or may not. You know.
And I just want to clarify too that we support, and actually we have many programs, many churches who come to our school sites, like as you mentioned before. It's just when they, and just to clarify, it's just when they're contracted and receiving money through the district, that's where it causes some, because we have many clubs, Christian clubs, we have many different religious clubs, which are great. And, but it's when they start to receive money that we have to be cautious. And that's the only reason why I think we're having concerns, because a lot of us are very supportive. But it's just that little piece that we don't want to be liable in the school district. And then, of course, with you, then you would be liable as well. So it's just making sure that we don't have any issues with that.
Madam President, I call for the vote.
Okay.
Just, can you repeat your amended?
Yes.
So we're clear?
The amendment, the motion is provided, the provision is to not have any religious content, and if you violate the condition, it's a breach of the contract. In addition, it will not exceed what the amount is. So,
And we will only pay
yeah, we only
per
pay,
$70 per.
right, correct.
And it's different for the boys you
The
have.
boys is 50, but
There you
up to that amount, right? Okay, all right,
Of actual attendance.
okay. So now I
Yes.
call for the vote, yeah. Actual attendance, yes.
Yes. And then what does that mean? Is it when they register, when they sign in,
So-
or is
so
it when
the-
they're half
the-
day?
When they sign in.
The per
have to have
student
a sign-in.
amount for the
Right.
boys' conference is different than the girls. I'll calculate that,
Yes,
and we'll revise their contract.
exactly.
All right, right.
But the sign-in sheet is not the registration sheet, is what you're,
No,
what I
I
hear
would
you saying.
imagine that we'd want to see some kind of, they
Right.
do a hard sign-in.
A hard
from
sign,
the registration
because it's
sheet.
gonna be an invoicing that goes along
Yeah,
with it.
absolutely.
Got it.
We'll help them manage that.
Gotcha.
Okay, great. Okay, can I have a second?
I second it. It's been
You-
seconded,
you-
right?
yeah, you have a
Same
first
people,
and a
but-
second.
Call for the vote.
Because it was an
Oh,
addition
because
to
you did
it,
it.
because it was an
Yeah.
addition, so
I'll
we have
second
to.
it.
Got it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, I move that we
And then Mr. Tillman
accept
seconded.
it with the amendments. Mr.
Then-
Tillman
I
seconded.
second
Seconded, and then, okay, let's go ahead and call for the, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All's in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your patience as well.
Okay, so now moving forward, let's go ahead and go to 11.0, which is personnel report. 11.1, the personnel report number 15 dated March 5th, 2019. Dr. Wiseman?
As presented.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear his reply.
Let's present. Go to YouTube, it's on there. You can see everything on there. It's a video of him saying that. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. And let me just read the bottom. Be it resolved that the Board of Education adopts the new board policy 5111.1 dash students district residency. Okay. So let's go to,
Move to approve.
Second.
no, I didn't read that part.
On 11.2, who was the motion made by?
Me.
Mr. Gallo, thank you. And
Second
second
by
by
me.
Mr. Tillman. Okay, and
Wait, hold on, because, right, okay, so then, yeah, it moved around. Okay, so,
You need to go back to paper.
yeah, I'm using the computer, so I know, I have to go back to paper, but I refuse, I really, Yeah, I don't want to waste that much paper, so I'm fine. A little struggle here and there is not going to hurt too much. So 11.2, we already have that motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Now let's go to 11.3.
Second.
Wait, board ongoing initiatives reports. And so any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. 11.4, board top 10.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Rogers.
So on the one that's at the top, when we talk, it's been there on the create programs, and we had talked about Richardson. And so this is the one where we're talking about also wanting to do the policy around or look or get an understanding if we can create inclusion, just like we're doing with middle college. So can I add that to that? Because we want to look at where we are with the policy now and those that get in, that those that don't make it, but the inclusion piece. So the same thing that we said on middle college, we want to also look at that or revisit the policy on those two. So I don't know if I'm adding, I know middle college is up there, but I don't even think we captured that anywhere, or I did talk about that. Okay, so that would be for the policy
I
committee.
think it may be a separate and distinct action that you have in mind
Right.
on that.
So
And so,
maybe just add the school.
yeah, I might suggest you add it.
Just add the school in there. It's the number one, but we've been talking about creating something different, but we've now talked about the policy, looking at the policy,
Right.
and then getting some language around inclusion, being specific so that we can have, diversity there as well as look at the policy where, like, how much involvement is the principals involved in this, who's making the decision, especially at middle college. We're trying to get as many kids in diversity as we can.
So if it's the board's pleasure, we could add that as an item 6 and work on wording that in a way that captures what you've just said, Ms. Rogers.
Right.
If we have consensus from the board on that, we could do that.
Because it's a succinct work.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
we
fine.
just don't-
Okay,
That's okay.
then we'll do
Okay.
that. We'll word that in a way that captures what you just said.
And just realize it's time sensitive. I hope it gets into effect for this upcoming school year.
Okay.
Can you repeat it? Just for clarification, Dr. Marston?
So what I understood is the board wants us to make sure that we have an examination of the middle college, high school policy to ensure equity and inclusion.
Yes, okay, good.
And Richardson,
Yeah,
it would be the
that's good.
same thing that we've been calling for.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. 11.5, board follow-up.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I just have one question, sorry, but.
That's okay.
On, Mr. Tillman has a continue to mitigate financial hardships to create level playing fields. Did we leave something or miss something out? What is it pertaining to? Did something get lost in that one, Danny?
No, I mean, it's
create-
the perfect example is the gym wear.
Which one are you talking about?
When you say financial
Number
hardship
four.
in number
Under
4?
business services, page 30, number 4.
But what are the specifics? What area do we have that in? I couldn't. Yeah, the gym is there, but what seems like something got lost here.
Was that the PE
Is it
closed?
PE was it supposed to be PE in there? I thought PE was.
Is that under business services? Number
Yeah, if
4?
I recall, this was more of an opportunity question where students in higher wealth areas may have access to certain
Exactly.
activities and programs, and so it's this constant look and effort at
And
through a lens.
Okay, so the reason why I asked, Mr. Tillman, excuse me.
Eliminating the fees.
Right, okay, because this doesn't capture that, because it goes back to what we were talking about with those wanting the gyms and different things like that, so
All that.
I just wanted to, it just looks very vague.
But it is because the whole philosophy is because we get LCFF money, a lot of that money should go towards mitigating the hardships that are caused by lower
Okay, but see,
socioeconomic-
you're adding more, I hear you now, but I'm just saying, I don't want to get lost into what we want to do.
Staff can work with Mr. Tillman offline and clarify that and bring it back to you.
Okay, just,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can
Yes.
do that.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say
Aye.
nay. Motion carried. 11.6, future agenda items.
So move.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. 12.0, summary of board requests. Dr. Harold Volkermer.
Thank you, Madam President. Not too many this evening. The first one is, relatively speaking, determine whether we have wait lists for students to be tested for GATE, and then also do we have wait lists for students to be placed if they are identified as GATE students. Provide information on counselors' role in assisting students with mental health issues. Somewhat related to that is clarify our partnerships and roles and the services offered with DBH. And then the last three that I have are I think, somewhat connected, and that is explore the cost of showers at the middle school and high school, prioritize middle school gymnasiums, and perhaps substitute funding sources and other items from, I think it would be the orange page if I remember correctly. And then explore, this is the term I gave it, Dr. Flores, explore in the meantime facilities for our middle schools and high schools in relation to PE and athletics. That's all I have.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead. 13.0, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait, no, that's right. We're going into closed session, and we will be reporting out. Yes. Okay, so then we're not adjourning yet. We'll be back, hopefully not too long. Okay, so then let me go ahead and read out from closed session. Be it resolved that the Board of Education has determined on an individual basis that the following certificated employees be given notice prior to March 15, 2019, that their employment with the district not be renewed for the 2019-20 school year pursuant to Education Code 44-929.21, and that the superintendent or designee is hereby authorized to give written notice of this action prior to March 15, 2019, pursuant to Education Code 44-9929.21. And these are for the following employees: HR-CERT 1819-10, HR CERT 18-19-14, HR CERT 18-19-13, HR CERT 18-19-15, and HR CERT 18-19-17. Can I have a motion? Any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Then the next one is be resolved that the Board of Education has determined that the following certificated employee be given prior notice to March 15, 2019, that she may be released from assignment as an adult school vice principal effective at the end of 2018-19 school year and reassigned as assignment consistent with his or her credential authorization effective at the beginning of the 2019-2020 school year, and that the superintendent or his designee is hereby authorized to give written notice of this action pursuant to Education Code 44951. And this is for HR CERT 18-19-05. Can I have a motion? Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carried. Be resolved, excuse me. Be it resolved that the Board of Education has determined the following certificated employee be given notice prior to March 15, 2019, that she may be released from assignment as a high school vice principal effective at the end of 2018-19 school year and reassigned to an assignment consistent with his or her credential authorization effective at the beginning of the 2019-20 school year, and that the superintendent or his designee is hereby authorized to give written notice of this action pursuant to Code 44951. HR CERT 17-18-06. Sorry, wow. Can I have a motion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. I want to pass this along to my Vice President. Let's read the last one.
Where were you at? Which one were you at? Be it resolved? Okay, gotcha. Be it resolved, okay, this is HR's, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, HR certificate, cert 17-1806. Be it resolved that the Board of Education has determined that the following certified employee be given notice prior to March 15, 2019, that he or she may be released from assignment as a principal on assignment effective at the end of the 2018-19 school year and reassigned to an assignment consistent with his or her credential authorizations effective at the beginning of the 2019-20 school year, and that the superintendent and his designee is hereby authorized to give written notice of this action pursuant to Education Code 44951. All in favor? Any discussion? All right, motion carried, and
Next board meeting is March 12th. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Good night. March 12th. I'm sorry, March 12th. Did I say March 12th?